Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Survivors Complex. We are excited to be back with another small little D&D crew today. We have a couple of people absent. I think Dylan's got some acting things to do, right? I don't remember. I never keep track of anything that anybody's doing. And I believe Sarah is going to see the eclipse, so... we have some other exciting things going on, obviously, and we'll all look forward to pictures from Sarah of that. But otherwise, we are ready to get into some fun D&D action. I don't think we have a whole lot of announcements before getting started. I know that we're still looking for another team to join the UPIC Gaming crew. Anybody out there that might be interested in streaming your adventures or any sort of RPG material or gaming material with UPIC Gaming, contact. I don't know who's the point of contact on this, Savannah.
It's me. Contact me.
Okay, contact Savannah. Or just contact the UPIC Gaming.
Yeah, the UPIC Gaming Twitter would be the best point of contact.
Yeah. And I know there will be a new Valandor on Monday. And speaking of other things on UPIC Gaming, we have a guest today, as you can see, Ryan, who is a player on Valandor and previously ran Demon Seed, if I'm correct, is joining us to fill in for our lack of players today. So that should be fun. We'll see what he's got in store for us.
He's Dylan today.
He's Dylan today. So you can refer to him as Ryan or Dylan or that guy. All right. I can't think of anything else. Any other announcements, Savannah? No. All right.
So.
Okay.
I'll think of something.
So let's go ahead and get started then. Go ahead and do our recap. Last time that we played here on Survivors Complex, the crew had made their way to the western shores of Growldar, anticipating being picked up by the Fury Pirates, Den's pirating crew. You had also been interested in journeying to Storm's Tower, a landmark on the Growldarian coast that Star seemed to have some interest in, and Den as well for its affiliation with lightning and storms and such. You made contact with a band of adventurers that had seemed to make it to the tower, were camping outside of it. A storyteller, explorer, and venture debonair, Alfred Bernard Tross, was currently camping or exploring these regions of Growldar, asked for your help to get into the tower. You agreed, braving the lightning storm that surrounds this area perpetually and making it into the tower. You met the wizard that dwelled within, an older gentleman named Halbert Kane, I keep messing that up, who seemed like a nice man that just wanted to be left alone and wanted the kids off his yard. You then switched sides, agreeing to help Halbert to get Alfred Bernard Tross out of the region and scare him off from the tower. You did successfully, for which Halbert gave you a quest or a job in helping with his experimentation and research, giving you these rods of teleportation, these resonating scepters of instantaneous transposition across interplanar space. I think I got that right. I don't have it in front of me this time. That you could use to create sort of waypoints and teleport around the Sarthia at your leisure, kind of helping his research along the way. You're given 3 of them to use, and to use wisely since they have limited usage. You thanked him for his help, and he thanked you for yours. And at that point, after a few weeks of resting and learning within the tower and spending some time helping Halbert clean up, being that he is quite old, you saw a ship approaching as the eye of the storm crested off the western edges of Graldar. You met the captain of the Fury Pirates, Captain Windwalker, a Genasi who seemed, I lost my words there for a second, a Genasi who welcomed you aboard her ship and promised to take you all to Port Onryx, a pirate capital within the southern reaches of the Divide. You met some of Den's crew, and I think as we left off, you had begun your journey across the southern reaches of the continent, making your way towards the Sundered Deep and to Port Onryx and the Divide beyond. And that's where we pick up here for today. So at this point with your travels, you've been traveling for a few weeks now, meeting some of the other members of the crew, getting to know the first mate, Damian Hurst, Erwin Dusk, and Holly Reverie, 3 of the more important people on the ship besides Captain Windwalker. You get some time to spend with the other crew members as well. Anything anybody wants to do during this time? I don't think anybody has any like crafting stuff that they were doing. Those people are absent today, unfortunately.
No crafting, but assuming Sadel may or may not have time on the ship, get more lessons in speaking Elven.
Okay. Yeah, you could definitely do that for this period, becoming a little more proficient in the language. I don't have the homebrew mechanic for it. We'll continue to speak on that going forward, but you can continue to increase your proficiency in Elven, and after about 2 months of being on the ship, once you guys make it to Port Onryx, you'll have plenty of time to have studied that.
Can I do the same thing with Star and Tabaxi?
Sure. Yeah. So you guys are spending some of your free time studying, and you are expected to help out a little bit on the ship to kind of earn your keep, whether it be none of your sailors by nature, but you pick up a few things here and there, learning the ropes, no pun intended, around the ship, cleaning, cooking, using your skills to sort of help people on board. Then, of course, you have your job. You sort of fall back into your old routines, taking your shift, manning the deck, and also tending to the wounds and maladies of your crew members. For the most part, Sadel and Lilibet are fairly isolated. They spend most of the time working on their brews and devices. Sadel spends a fair amount of time with Holly, getting to her input on weaponry and tinkering and blacksmithing.
Building a secret cannon.
Maybe. They're working on it. They've got the blueprints. They don't have the materials, but they're working on it.
They have the technology.
They do have the technology. So, anything else besides that, as we're through the first leg of the journey? After about 4 weeks of travel, the ship begins to coast northward, and the bearing is changed. You begin to alter and follow the currents and the winds north through the Sundered Deep and between the continents of, still kind of staying close to the continent of Growldar, the coast of Growldar, making your way north towards the Divide and Port Onryx, wherever that may be. Towards that part of the journey, you all wake in the... It's not the music I wanted. Damn, you roll 20. You all wake in the early morning before the sun has even risen, and you hear what sounds like cannon fire in the distance.
I mean, I go to my post where I would be if there was a fight.
You can hear above deck and throughout the hallways the of people rushing through the deck. They're not calling out. There isn't a lot of noise being made from the ship. And the cannon fire sounds far off, but it's just this perpetual, like, almost sounds like somebody banging on the side of the hull.
Yeah, I'll go up, see if I can help.
I'm doing the same, going up to deck, see what's going on.
Okay. You guys all rush above deck, making your way, or dressing and gathering your things as you do. You can sort of bumped and jostled around by the few members of the crew, quickly making their way to and fro below deck. As you pull yourself up the ladders to the main deck, you look around. You can see the moon beginning to wane and cresting overhead. You can vaguely make out a little bit of light in the distance from the sun as it just begins to crest over the eastern horizon. However, to the in that direction to the east, the light currently rising is obscured by a cloud of smoke as you see dozens of ships sort of mashed and intermingling among the roaring waters of the Sundered Deep. The smoke you can see is coming from hundreds of cannons firing, wood splintering. You can hear the cries and yells of crew members of those vessels as the ship, as your vessel, the Eye of the Storm, very silently is making its way around this battle currently taking place. And you do see the standards of Ondakir and Ivrandal flying amongst the ships. You see the standards of Ivrandal flying amongst the ships currently clustered in the water, and up in the air you see a few dozen airships of Ondakir returning fire down into the sea. There's splintered wood and debris currently permeating the waters underneath you that the Storm's Eye is making its way through. As you all make it above deck, you can see the crew sort of silently manning the rigging. Captain Windwalker at the helm with Damien Hurst, both of them looking out quietly in the direction of the battle. As you come up, Damien makes his way down, sort of sliding down the railing and quickly making his way over towards Den and your group, saying, "Stay quiet, no lights. Should be able to make our way around." You guys doing anything? got a hold from Lucius. I'm not sure if there's something you want.
Yeah, I was reading something, but I don't think the smoke and mirrors thing can do anything with a ship this size.
No.
Okay. Cool.
No. And you're a pretty fair distance from the battle. It looks like the battle has moved through the waters in that direction. There's debris from ships around you. You can see if Randolph flags submerged and half burned in the water. As you're looking out towards the ships currently grouped in the waters below, as this aerial battle, a naval battle, is taking place, you see in the center of the battlefield, the ocean itself seems to begin to boil. And as it splashes, and as each of these bursts open up in the water, black smoke begins to whirl out of the sea and fills the vicinity. As it does, you hear Captain Windwalker very quietly, given how quiet the crew is currently being, whisper, ominous. Shit. Lower the sails. We need to get out of here as quickly as possible. Quick, man the rigging! And the crew begins to very quickly rush to their stations.
It's possible that the crew would have learned I'm real good at climbing, so I'm probably helping out now.
Okay, yeah, you can. As the...
Would I know what this attack is with the smoke and everything? Have I seen it before?
No. You were stationed on land, so you didn't really have any experience with fighting Randallian forces in the sea. Even still, this doesn't necessarily ring any bells to you. As this happens, though, and you see the smoke begin to billow out of the ocean, you watch as something solid begins to emerge from the smoke as well. A wooden, a wooden figure emerges from the water. Looks like a black skeletal form almost. As it emerges, you see that it is, in fact, the figurehead of a ship, as a sort of like Pirates of the Caribbean style, the Davy Jones ship kind of emerges from the water, the ocean billowing around it and pouring off the sides of it. This ebony warship comes crashing out of the ground, or out of the ocean, and landing amongst the waves. You see the rigging is, or the sails themselves are black as well, and the colors of the ship flying are a elongated black or white skull on a black background. You recognize this den as the dead pirates, or their standard.
Shit.
I wonder why they're called that.
As the ship emerges from the water, you can see the Randallian Navy sort of all the ships begin to veer away. They're not returning fire or firing upon the ship as it emerges. You see the vessel, which you recognize, Den, as further as being the flagship, the Remorseless. As the Remorseless veers to starboard, you hear the sound of chains and some sort of commotion aboard the vessel, though it's hard to see from your current vicinity. And suddenly there's a series of quick explosions and flashes of fire, just as a series of chains shot out from the ship, shrieking through the air and colliding with one of the airships currently suspended 100 feet or so above the ocean waters. The ship veers slightly as this happens, and then you see the chain suddenly go taut as they begin to reel in, just and the ship is slowly pulled down towards the ocean. You can see a number of smaller figures climbing amongst the chains, scaling them up towards the vessel. And you watch this battle take place from a far distance as the airship from the Aldocarian airship is slowly pulled towards the ocean and set to flame by the pirates currently scaling up the rigging. The Storm's Eye, very quickly now that it has caught the wind, trying to skirt around the battlefield in a way. The first mate, Damien Hurst, looks towards Captain Windwalker and says, Captain, the Remorseless appears to be alone. We could take her while we're here. At which Windwalker looks at him and says, Shut up, Hurst. I don't wish to get in a fight with Captain Black at this point. Even if they are alone, we're not manned for any sort of open conflict with them. We should get out of here as quickly and quietly as possible.
If my friends are like around me, I'm like whispering to them about the dead pirates. What little information that I know.
Yeah, and there's...
Nobody knows anything about Captain Black, except that he's been alive for like 1,000 years or something.
And you would know, I guess, Lucius, that you have heard stories that the dead pirates have come to some sort of alliance with Ivrandal, and have been fighting to sort of fighting against Olmdoc here on the battle lines right now, that in the divide between Olmdoc here and Ivrandal territory.
Wonder what Ivrandal promised them.
Who knows? They say they can't be killed.
It's a good crew to have at your back, especially now.
As the ship begins to sort of coast away from this main conflict, you can see these scattered remnants of 20 or 30 other ships, both Omdakir and Ivrandalian ships, scattered amongst the waves. The ship begins to slow a bit as some of the sails are furled up to more precisely navigate these waters. And you hear from the bow of the ship, one of the crew members call out, Captain, we have men in the water. The captain cries out, see who's alive, pull up who you can. Need to find out what happened here. And you see the few crew members around begin to throw ropes into the water and pull up bodies from the ocean, most of them being bodies. They pull up 5 or 6 people, men, women, elves, humans, a mix of races, some tieflings and dragonborn from the Aldocarian navy. Most of them seem to have been in the water for some time, and given the cold waters of the Sundered Deep, have already passed. And one by one, they're brought up and sort of piled up towards the center of the ship as the sort of atmosphere of the crew becomes a little less hopeful and a little more somber at the sight of so many dead. One of the crew members towards the side of the ship calls out, We have a big one here. Looks like he's wearing armor. Might still be alive. And as you look over the side of the ship, you can see what looks to be a fully armored figure, currently kind of halfway draped over the side of what seems to be like a broken mast floating in the water. The crew throws ropes out, and the figure doesn't seem to move for a little bit. So Damien Hurst goes over to the side of the ship and says, that one's going to be hard to pull up. I'll take care of it. And he grabs one of his daggers, grips it between his teeth, pulls off his shirt and dives into the water, crashing and quickly swimming over towards the body, grabbing the ropes that have been thrown out and tying it onto the pieces of armor. You see him sort of stop and pause for a moment as he inspects the body. And there's a moment of silence as the ship is beginning to coast past. He looks back and he says, pull hard, this one's going to be difficult to bring up. And this crew begins to heave on the ropes, and it is heavy as this form is lugged over the side of the ship and onto the deck. The crew begins to gather around this form. You all sort of push your way through, and the body slowly begins to stir and move. And I will let him describe himself.
First things first. Are there insignia on the ship? Would I that I would be able to identify who their alliance might be with?
As you come to and look up towards the sky, you see this cluster of people gathered around you. You quickly survey, and you don't see any signs, or you don't see the colors of Ondok here or Randolph flying on this ship. So you can't tell if they have any sort of alliance.
Okay. So before you see a slightly rusted over metal humanoid looking thing with wearing clothes that are super, super old. They might have had color at one point, but they grayed out through weather and the elements. And they just kind of hang on his sides. He has lots of, you kind of notice like on his chassis that there are parts where like blades have kind of jammed in and been broken off at the end, and they're just kind of stay there. And also, as he's kind of standing on the ship, just water's kind of pouring out from inside of him. There's like a fish that kind of flops out maybe on the boat deck. And he kind of looks or regards kind of the group. Who do you sail for?
Windwalker and the Fury Pirates.
Pirates. Are you with the Empire?
No.
He says, as his hand kind of goes, he's like, that is good. I do not think I could take you all.
The crew, you can see, is sort of backing up as this fully automated figure begins to kind of come to life again. And you all see, it sort of has a similarity to Wilson, the shield guardian you met last time, but is definitely more sort of alert. You see his eyes scanning you as you're all sort of gathered around him. Any sort of movement seems very on guard at this point, and but fully metal. Some sort of construction similar to what Sadell and Albert Kane make.
Can you take me back to the battle?
No offense, friend, but I think the battle's over.
And I survey, I guess, the scene and maybe come to that same conclusion, I guess.
Yeah, and you can see the far off, you look back towards the battle, you can see far less ships than there were previously. You see the black sails of the Remorseless, which has popped up a few times during the fight that has taken place over the past few weeks. You see the Ivrandalian Navy, now a meager 12 ships from its full 75 ship fleet. You can see the Ondakir airships currently coasting in, and you can see more airships in the distance beginning to approach, and you watch as the Ivrandalian Navy begins to sort of scatter.
He kind of looks mournfully. This isn't his first battle that he's seen lost. And he just kind of is quiet, actually, for a little bit. Not sure what to do next.
And who do you fight for?
I fight for myself. But for the Alliance. I was constructed for that singular purpose. But now it is not one that has been given to me. It is one that I hold for my own.
So, next question, maybe. This might be a little rude, I know, but what are you?
I am Freeman.
Okay, but you're like a machine, I say, pointing towards Dita.
Yeah, and you see a sort of a similar looking, or a strange sight, a mechanical creation or some sort of like automated creature, similar to you, gears, motors, some arcane scrawling along it to help power its form. A strange construction with a large or bulbous body, 4 flippers, and a long neck. For the sake of what is it? A plesiosaurus, but whether you've seen a plesiosaurus or you know what it is up to you.
And so, did you ask me a follow-up question? It was just like, it's like, I was made. I am warforged.
You hear a whistle come from the other side of the group. And Captain Windwalker comes stepping through the crowd as it parts. She says, Warforged. Haven't seen one of your kind in many years. Not since our time in Roran.
I don't believe there are many of us left.
I'd say not. Most of you are rotting on the bottom of the ocean. Rusting, I should say. Interesting.
This is preferable.
I'd imagine so. Well, I can say that I can't return you safely to your ships, whether yours is still floating or not. We are, however, bound for Port Onryx, and there you can find passage to wherever you like. I don't feel comfortable sailing too close to Alliance or Ondakir vessels at this point, though.
That seems more than reasonable.
All right. Well, welcome aboard, Freeman. You said your name was?
Yes.
Welcome aboard. We'll find suitable quarters for you. And she turns and kind of leans over towards Damien, at which point you sort of, you consider you have the highest pass for perception. Den, you hear her whisper over to Damien and says, "Keep an eye on him." And she goes walking back towards the helm.
You hurt, Freeman.
I will live.
I try to heal him.
I don't know if you can.
We're gonna find out.
I'm not really sure how that works. DM.
Den isn't either.
So you do attempt to heal him?
Well, I go up to him. Freeman? I'm Den. Welcome aboard. And I hold out my hand in like a warrior's handshake.
Oh, I know these. And then he obliges.
And I cast Cure Wounds on him to see if it works.
Okay. As you embrace strength and honor, the Den, you cast your Cure Wounds, and Freeman, you feel this jolt of electricity course through you as it kind of this electrical radiant energy spirals down Den's arm and into yours and through your body and your circuitry. And you see some of the there are some gaps and kind of bending to the metal in some areas where it looks like he was probably impacted with shrapnel or swords or whatever he might have encountered when he was on his ship. And you can see the arcane scrawling around his around the plates that make up his body begin to light up at that point, and the metal itself begins to sort of bend inward, some of it reforging and connecting with the warforged or the arcane nature of his construction. So you are healed by her powers.
Then you said your name was.
Yeah?
We could have used you earlier.
That's what they all say. Looks like you're alive after all.
A certain kind of life, I suppose.
Welcome aboard, Freeman. You ride with the Fury Pirates now.
Thank you.
And you can see towards the back of the crowd, Sadel and Holly sort of like fangirling as they see Freeman, begin to walk around the ship. Freeman, you sort of feel somebody watching you, and every so often out of the corner of your eye, you'll see a half elf with 2 different colored eyes and an elven, a young, very small elven woman, kind of watching you and taking notes as they are observing your movements.
He does not feel awkward. I don't know how to play that, though, that he doesn't feel awkward, because he just keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
I keep
All right.
a close eye on him.
Probably looks longingly over the deck for a little bit, and then goes to wherever he's being ushered, wherever he's supposed to be on the ship.
Yeah. Actually, at that point, Holly, the younger elven, or the young-looking elven woman, breaks off from Saddle and comes up and says, "Hi, Mr. Freeman. I'm supposed to find a place for you to stay, but I have to ask, and I don't mean to do you sleep?"
Not in the same way that the meat people do.
I like it. That's canon now. He or she.
But I do need time.
She's. Do you need a place to sleep? I'm just asking because I can make a hammock for you below deck, but I'm gonna need to get your measurements and your weight, and that might. I don't know if we have enough material or strong enough support for that.
I don't require much space.
Okay. I also have room in the armory if you'd like to stay in there. It's not very comfortable, but I don't know if comfortable really matters as much. It's where I stay most of the time.
That will be sufficient.
Okay. It's this way. Just you can follow me, and she shows you back to the armory where the workshop of the ship is, and you see the weaponry stored and a workbench and things like that. And there's some space for you to lay. Meanwhile, Holly, as you're sort of finding your place to rest, she's just sort of going over, whispering to Saddle, and you hear the two of them talk. She says, "Okay, so if he's staying in there, then I can watch and observe his maybe we can sketch out a design." And Saddle said, "Yeah, I think that'll work. And I know a few things about the scrawling that I see." And they begin to whisper amongst themselves, concocting some sort of plan to understand how Freeman works.
Is the arcane scrawlings on Freeman similar to the one on my hand?
Yeah, it's actually very similar to what to your robotic hand.
Just like collecting robots now.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you wanted to collect things.
Pet robots.
So, anything else anybody's doing, or we can continue forward with the journey?
I don't leave Holly alone with him because he's a giant scary robot.
Okay,
It scares
fair
me
enough.
a little bit. But just in general, which would have been one of my responsibilities in addition to kind of healing and everything on the ship, I just kind of keep an eye on him. Just in general.
Okay. Sorry for that noise. The cat decided this was a good time to use the litter box. You sort of, as Holly is staying about 10 feet back from Freeman watching, you're staying about 5 feet back from Holly watching. There's just sort of this train of people following Freeman around while he's caring about his business on the ship. And as far as you all, eventually the Eye of the Storm makes its way out of the battlefield, and the sounds of the battle behind you begin to wane. The tension sort of releases, and you all are able to relax once again. You all rest for that evening and continue on your journey north. Most of the travel for the next few days consists of Holly and Saddle asking Freeman a barrage of questions about, what sort of metal composite is he constructed from, if he knows anything about the arcane runes that were used in his construction, who made him, and all that sort of information. They're very intrusive, Freeman, and you can choose how you want to respond to that.
Let's see. I'm not sure how familiar he'd be with his own construction, but he would gladly reveal that he was made by the wizard Basgrabel, who is she was a wizard in Roran, I believe.
Yeah, Roran.
I don't know how long ago that was, but he was made. I heard, and he like specific questions. He was just like, ask the wizards in Roran. And he clears his throat of more the seaweed, I guess. Yeah, just
it's a few days of trying to get everything out. After about 3 or 4 days on the ship, you all begin to smell some like rotting fish, as there are a few others that have been sort of still like stuck in the gears, and maybe takes you a little bit of help to get the rest of the debris out from inside of you.
Yeah.
And I'll say over time, because it's my job to heal and not discriminate, if he continues to look like injured or like, you know, there are gashes in the metal or whatever, like I'll kind of heal him over time.
Okay.
If he wants that.
Let's say that for the most part, yes, but let's say that there's one scar he doesn't want you to fix.
Respect.
And you do see that it, as a healer and as somebody familiar with anatomy and biology, there's nothing organic in his construction. It is entirely synthetic. But it's interesting, the glyphs and the rune work that is worked in meticulously to every aspect of his form, it does heal on its own. As he rests in the next day, as he gets up, you can see that some of the scarring, I mean, there is scarring, there are places where once the metal has been kind of sundered, when it comes back together, it's different than before, like welding marks and things like that. The same as it would be on any person. But the metal that he's constructed from is almost alive on its own. It's nothing like you've ever seen before. And judging from conversations you probably have with Sadel along the way, nothing he's seen before either. He and Holly can't even identify the type of what Freeman is made out of.
No offense, Freeman, but you're probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
None taken. I guess I'd rather be unique than nothing at all.
Fair enough. Nobody likes boring.
As the next few days and weeks begin to pass, the suspicion from the crew, at least, though you guys may approach however you want, begins to diminish. Damien draws a little bit, or pays a little bit less attention to Freeman every day. The captain seems a little less suspicious after a few days, and he hasn't ripped everybody's heads off.
Or has he?
Or has he?
I put them back.
As the days begin to pass and you have these moments to sort of speak amongst yourselves and get to know this new person a little bit more, your surroundings begin to change. You notice there's a bite to the air, cooler than before. As the winter months begin to approach, you all find more and more having to bundle up as you come above deck, and as you're sleeping in your quarters overnight. And towards the
Star starts shedding as his winter coat comes through.
Yeah, Star's a little more fluffy than he was before.
I'm not cold. I love the cold.
Pretty sure Lucius hates the cold because he's never had to deal with it before.
Yeah, I mean, this is about like right now where things are as far as temperature wise. Like this is about the coldest you had to deal with. It got cold in Balavar, you know, when you were stationed there for your time. But this is about as cold as you want to deal with, and it's still getting colder. So yeah, as you make your way north, moving away from for a couple weeks after having left the Graldar coast, and still keeping in that northward trajectory, there comes a day where you wake up and you can see out in the distance what looks to be a landmass in front of you, a dark shape looming over the horizon. Looks like you're approaching a continent of some sort, but as the hours pass and the days pass, you see as you approach more and more that instead there are a cluster of spires and cliff sides piercing up through the waters of the Sundered Deep. Just this endless wall of jagged rock and broken cliffs, stretching as far as the eye can see in the northern direction. And the ship begins to coast in more of a northeastern trajectory, moving along these cliffsides as you reach the divide. A location that some of you might be familiar with. Den, you are. Freeman, you probably would be too, given that you would have passed through or near the divide, leaving Roran. But it's just this endless stretch of this maze of cliffs and broken islands piercing hundreds of feet out from the ocean. And through these weeks of moving along it, it's a rather ominous sight. And it's every once in a while you hear something echo from within, the screech of an animal, of some sort of bird or other creature. But other than that, it's eerie, and the shadows themselves that are cast off the walls occasionally cause crew members to flinch, as they are very obviously aware and fearful of whatever may be inside or through those waters. As well as at this time, near the end of your journey towards Port Onryx, there, about towards the end of the day, through the overcast clouds, small crystalline snowflakes begin to drift down towards the ocean. You can see snow beginning to crest and kind of bunch up on the tops of these cliff faces. Ice forming near the bases and then being broken in the swell of the tides in the morning and the evenings. This beautiful, again, kind of continuously eerie sight as the divide takes on this winter desolation. And then, around or on the 4th of Wynn, which is the winter month, the crew calls out in the early morning, "Port ahead!" And you can hear the sounds of the crew beginning to very hurriedly make their way to and fro as they prepare for arrival. And as you all come above deck, you can see a cluster of islands gathered in a indentation in the divide. You see greenish islands at this point, with the winter having approached, coated with ice and frost at this point. A few 100 leagues or miles to either direction. A couple of small islands gather around this area, and then a large peninsula that juts out from the divide itself. And as you make your way through and around this peninsula, you approach a section where two of the large rock faces come together at a point, and a narrow strait makes its way through. And it's between this strait that you see a city. Bridges and walkways spiderweb between these two broken islands. There are shanties and huts suspended by ropes dangling hundreds of feet above the ocean's swell. Winches and cranes pivot out from the cliffs and unload cargo from the ships in the harbor below like fishermen reeling in the day's catch. You recognize, or you are very familiar with this place, Den, as being Port Onryx.
Welcome home, everyone.
So this is where all the pirates are and everything?
Not all of them. But
Well, more of them.
the best ones.
Well,
This is our port.
since we're sort of coming in on this ship, like I've heard about rivalries, there are certain places we shouldn't go?
The port is sort of neutral ground where we can all come, live, drink, and whatever happens on the sea sort of doesn't matter. Well, it does, but you know.
I'll take some time to wander around then.
There's a lot of people I want you all to meet. Wherever I'm from, this is home.
The ship pulls up towards a harbor that's built into the sides of this cliff face. There are 50 or 60 other vessels sort of positioned in these waters throughout this harbor. The sails are furled, and the Eye of the Storm drops anchor, coming to rest at the base of this cliff with the city towering above you. Windwalker comes out of her cabin and says, all right then, so you're all granted leave. We'll be in port for a few weeks, I assume, until all the other ships can gather. Once the fleet is here, we'll be meeting to conduct our business. Den, you and your companions are free to stay or go as you please. Just don't go running off again.
Thank you, Captain.
All right, you're all dismissed. Some of the crew hurriedly makes its way down the gangplank and onto the docks, kind of scattering before they're asked to do something else. You see Sadel and Holly, who have grown quite close in this time. Sadel calls out to Holly. He says, I think I'm going to stay here for a bit. Continue working on the cannon with Holly. I heard that the captain is going to be granting us some permission to gather some supplies. I know, Dan, you wanted to show us around the city, but do you mind if I stay here for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, we've got time.
All right. And Holly says, I'll be up soon. I'll find you in the city. Where are you going to be staying, Dan?
I don't know. Around.
All right. Well, I'll see you at Ava's, probably.
Definitely will be there at some point.
All right.
So where's Lil at this point?
Lil the ocean has not really agreed with her. And you notice towards the last month of your journey, she's been rather seasick, and it doesn't seem to be wearing off immediately as you've reached port.
To be fair, last time she was in the water, she did almost get eaten by a giant crocodile.
It is true. Lil has spent most of her time below deck.
Poor Lil.
Probably for the first time this whole journey, Freeman exits the armory and comes out once they stopped, and probably approaches Dan. It's like, I don't know, maybe overheard this somewhere. He's like, I hear you're familiar with this place.
I lived here a couple years, yeah?
May I accompany you? Don't know my way around here yet.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Everyone, you want to hang out with Freeman?
Sure. Can't see any reason why not to.
Lucius at this point is wrapped up in so many like coats and things that you can barely see him, and he's just like, whatever it takes to get out of this goddamn weather. Why do you live in this?
It's like barely snowing.
It's probably like 50 degrees, or no, it'd be a little colder than that because it's snowing. It's probably like 45 degrees, enough that like the snow isn't sticking and stuff, but it's not really like that cold. And you see most of the crew that's sort of seeing Lucius.
It's 45 degrees. Close the schools.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what.
Pretty much.
And Olnuk here is like the Florida. It's like the Florida, Alabama, Georgia.
He's from south of the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single snowflake and everything shuts
down.
Yeah.
I'm not used to any of this. It's going to take me time.
Alright. Yeah. Come on, Freeman. Come to port
You
with
know,
us.
The cold never really bothered me. I can't think why.
I hate you so much.
Get out.
If I could do anti-inspiration, I'm giving myself an inspiration. As you begin to walk to depart from the ship, debark from the ship.
Disembark.
Disembark is the word I was looking for. What is wrong with me? You feel a tug.
Sean's drunk, everyone.
Yeah, you feel a tug, kind of at your arm, Den, and Holly's there, and she leans in really close to you, and she says, "If he does anything other than like what he's been, can you take notes? Can you ask somebody else to take notes on anything he does out of the ordinary?"
You, I think, know me better than I know myself.
Just anything weird. I need to keep an accurate log of everything. It's so cool.
He's sort of cool. Star's really smart. I'll ask him.
Okay. All right. Well, have fun. And she gives you a kiss, and she goes back towards to Sadell and says, "Okay, so if we do that," and they begin to chat amongst themselves as they head back towards the armory.
Star, pull him aside.
Yes.
Holly asked me to ask you if Freeman does anything really interesting or cool. Could you write it down?
No problem. He is very interesting to just watch. I wonder what makes him work.
Well, if you just, remember interesting stuff and talk to her when we get back. I'm not good with,
I'll see what I can do. I've been trying to work this hand out. I'm sure it can't be too much different.
Cool.
Maybe.
I friend punch him in the shoulder. Too hard.
I friend punch her with robot hand.
Ow. King against the armor.
That's pretty good.
As you make your way down the plank and across the docks, heading towards these stairs that make their way up the sides of the cliffs, there is a man comes kind of wheeling around the docks in your direction, wearing a sort of dingy red velvet jacket with rusted brass buckles on the cuffs, a wide brim black hat with a large feather pluming off the back, very high boots, just pirate. I mean, just like the most piratey pirate you've ever seen. And he's carrying a clipboard in hand and comes around, walking straight up towards you and says, hold there now. As harbor master, I must collect the passenger tax from all of you as you'll make your way into our fair port here. That'll be 5 gold pieces from each of you. Please now, hurry.
Good to see you again, Harbor Master.
He wheels over in your direction, his peg leg kind of clinking on the wood, and he looks over towards you, Den, glaring out from beneath the wide brim of his hat. Oh! Hello, Dan. Sorry, go ahead. Right ahead now. You may pass. Just playing a joke, as always. Welcome to Port Onryx, all of you, and kind of hurries off, kind of hobbling down the planks.
Someone you know?
Then
Extortion is a joke.
what did you do to this man?
I did nothing.
Are you the reason he has one leg?
No! Why does everyone think such terrible things about me?
I mean, you are quite
Right.
literally wearing a weapon with his people's skulls on it, so I'm just saying.
That is true.
It's a little bit morbid,
It's a
and
little
I
morbid.
didn't make it. I just found it.
I'm just saying, no wonder people are scared of you.
Alright. Here we go. This is a pirate port. We don't have a harbor master.
And you can see the men going off towards down the docks, and you hear a loud voice booming out again as he's speaking, approaching another group of wayfarers, and says, "Now hold on, as harbor master of these docks, you must pay the tax if you wish to disembark. Otherwise, you can just turn off and head back out towards." And they begin to sort of argue for a minute. It says, I am Admiral Blackthorn, and you must pay your dues if you are to stay here in Port Onryx. Otherwise, I shall have you cast into the sea and your ships burned to ashes.
Does he do this all the time?
Yeah, it's... Listen, this man has made so much money.
But-
Admiral Blackthorn. He's not even an admiral.
But if everyone knows that there is no harbor master, then why does he make money being the harbor master?
Well, everyone doesn't know.
Also, only the pirates who come here know. I get it. I understand. I like this man. I want to throw him into the sea, but I like this man.
Yeah, he's very special to us.
No one else can throw him into the sea other than the people who are here. That kind of thing.
Admiral Blackthorn. And he did
How did
start
he-
calling himself that till he had the hat.
Well, I mean, in the Navy, the bigger the hat, the better you are in the ranking.
Sure.
I don't know. I've never been part of the Navy. It's just what we said while on land in the Army. I thought it was a joke until now.
Honestly, I don't even think he needs the peg leg. Never asked him, but
Star.
Wait.
Star.
Yeah.
I need that leg.
maybe
Don't ask me the
Batman's
reason.
leg.
Don't ask me the reason why. It's
I
for a
am
very
Freeman.
secret. Yes.
Oh, we just became the Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my god.
But no, seriously. If we ever get the chance, I kind of need to know if he needs the leg or not. So if you just happen to find a leg somewhere around in the pirate place, perfectly fine. I won't ask.
Just bring it to you, and
That's all I ask.
I'm sure if he ever drops it, I'm sure we'll be nice enough to return it to him.
Thank you. We're not stealing it, we're giving it back. Unless that's against the rules. Are there any rules that we need to know here then before we get into trouble? Except probably don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean, that's
That's about it, okay.
pirate code, rule number 1. Don't be a dick. I mean, don't take things that aren't yours. And don't kill anybody. Or don't kill anybody that didn't attack you first, I guess.
Don't steal things that aren't yours. Isn't that the whole point of piracy?
Pirates do a lot more than just taking things. And, well, it's sort of complicated in a really long story, but, I mean,
we've got time if you want to talk.
we take things we've earned. And if you didn't earn it, it's not yours. Don't take it. And, when we go to the alehouse, don't leave without paying.
Good to know. I so want to make a Game of Thrones reference right now. So want to make one.
Yeah, I mean, just don't.
Alright,
I don't know.
that works. Just be a regular, semi-good person.
Act
and we'll
like
all...
you fit in, and they'll think you fit in. I don't know. I'm not super
mean-
good with people.
Look at me. Do you think I'm going to fit in?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, never mind. That just shoots that in the foot.
Let's
go.
That's the fun thing about this city, though. Like, you can look like you can look like me, you can look like us, really. You, me, Star, Freeman. What are we? This group. And no one really cares.
Kind of looks back at Admiral Blackthorn. I can tell what you mean. That's nice. I like this place.
So, where are we going first?
There's just so much fun stuff here. Freeman, can I ask you something? Sort of intrusive.
You may.
Do you eat?
I don't need to.
Do you like
Right.
to?
At this point, there's depends on what it is. Some things are easier to clean out than others.
Do you like ale?
Sure.
Let's go to the ale house. Go to the ale house.
How about oil?
I like oil better.
All right, you want to go to
Take them
that?
to the ale house.
Okay.
The whole time we're walking through, I'm looking for tabaxi. If we just so happen to see another one with white fur,
Make a perception check.
What's the thing? Click. 22.
Okay. Definitely no tabaxi with white fur.
Any other tabaxi in general, though?
You make your way. There are a lot of different races here. You do see a couple of tabaxi, kind of scattered amongst the crowds. I mean, there are half orcs and tieflings and elves and genasi and goliaths, humans, dwarves, gnomes, and just scattered around. It's hard to even pick out one race amongst the groups gathered here from all over. But there are a couple tabaxi mixed in. No one you recognize, but. So you begin make your way up the rigging and up the steps carved into rock walls here, and you pass by a number of shops along the way. And I assume you kind of point out some of the shops.
Yeah, I do tour guide.
Okay, so you sort of tour them around. You point out towards, you pass by it. It's actually lower if you were to go down the stairs instead of up. Just towards the base, there's a cove or a glade over, or no, it wouldn't be a glade. What's the word I'm looking for? We'll just go with cove. Carved into the wall, a grotto is what I'm looking for at the base of the cliffs, and you point that out as the bed of the gods. There is an inn that you pass by, basically one of the only standalone inns in the city. The Captain Fell Inn. There's also let's see, you go past.
The Captain Fell In, I say.
Who named this?
Captain Fell.
Captain Fell.
This man had quite a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Freeman looks like
Does Freeman not understand?
puns. I
There's
explain the pun to Freeman.
They completely go over his head.
otherwise you pass a
Nothing
couple
goes
of
over his head. His reflexes are
It's
too
just
fast.
There's also a smith on one side, sort of a tinkerer, smith, armorer, weapon.
This is the shop I really wanted to show Sadell, which we'll
But
get to.
guns and smiths. There's also a haberdashery you pass by called Capsizing. And what
This
else?
is a
was-
reasonable name.
It really is.
Oh, an oddity shop that you show them called Davy's Locker. Otherwise, that's all of them. You point out a couple other places. There's a shipwright near the harbor, the Right Stuff Co. Or the Right Stuff Company. I think that's pretty much all the notable places that you would pass by on the way in. You can also point out the direction of the pits, which is the sort of fighting club or fighting pits within the city.
We'll have to go there after the ale house. You'll like the pits a lot. All of you.
And
Does not
as
sound ominous at all.
It's not. It's awesome.
Why did they call it the pits?
Wait, it's a fighting pit.
Oh, it's a pun.
It is a pun, Freeman.
I get it. Okay.
He's learning.
Dan, do you even know what the word ominous means?
I've heard people say it.
Usually
Yes,
before
I know
something,
what ominous means.
I will take your word for it. So is it an actual like pit in the ground that you fight in?
Yeah. Fight
Yeah,
pits.
I'm going to be horrible at that.
Well, I mean, you don't have to fight. We could just go and watch.
Deal, because really I'm not a really fisticuffs kind of
Freeman, I
person.
bet you would like it.
Freeman would be. Oh, you know who would love this place? Arn.
Barb?
Barb would love this place.
She would.
We need to bring her back. All right, to this alehouse.
And as you're finishing your conversation, you make it up towards the upper ledges of the cliffs, and you come to a very lively establishment. There we go. There are a number of doors leading into some sort of interior carved into the cliff sides. It also sort of juts out this wooden structure, the shanty built into it, and a ledge. The whole structure, suspended by stilts, sticks out about 40 or 50 feet from the cliff edge. As you make your way across the bridge towards it, you can see a large sign with massive planks sort of constructing the lettering of it that reads Ava's Ale House. And there are 3 or 4 doors leading inside, and you hear laughter and music and just this lively atmosphere emanating from within. A number of other mostly drunk-looking pirates leaning over the edges of the upper level of the establishment, looking down at you as you approach, kind of calling out in your direction as ale sloshes over their cups. All in all, seems like very piratey atmosphere. Den, you leave the doors and push inside. You see dozens of tables scattered around the floors, probably 30 or 40 different people gathered at the tables, drinking and laughing as music is playing near the side of the room. A band of 4 or 5 percussionists and trying to think of other words for instrumentalists, but words are escaping me today. But there's a band over there, and they're playing music, which I lose the words to describe at this very moment.
That good.
Yeah. In the back of the tavern, there is a 40 or 50 foot long bar. Behind it, there are dozens of casks and barrels stacked and that construct the back wall. There are 10 or so bartenders and waiters currently getting ale and other drinks from the casks and sliding them across the bar towards pirates that are currently ordering. It's also like 10 a.m. right now, just for perspective. This is slow for this place. Den, you would know this.
Quiet today.
Very loud.
Yeah, this is quiet for this place.
And Den, you make out a shorter, slightly hunched figure of a dwarven woman making her way between the tables, going up to some and kind of clapping some of the pirates on the back. You can see her frayed and sort of slightly balding hair or thinning hair, dyed a bright pink from its probably white appearance. She has deep tanned and wrinkled skin. This older dwarven woman wearing blue silken doublet and breeches, making her way to each of the tables, kind of laughing with some of them, and grabbing a drink and chugging part of it, pushes her way around the bar. You recognize the owner of this establishment.
Everyone, come meet an old friend. I start going towards her.
Okay. She's currently standing with a couple of, or near one of the tables, and you hear her laughing. And she's like, "Now don't forget the other 30 gold that you owe me." And she looks over in your direction, Dad sees you, and says, and squints really hard, looking towards you. Den, is that you?
It is.
Get over here. And she kind of slowly hobbles across the floor and says, get down.
I kneel down. Oh,
She clasps her hands on your shoulders and says, "It's been some time, girl. Where have you been?"
around.
That's vague.
Growldar.
Growldar, why would you be in a shithole like that?
Not some money to be made.
She looks over her shoulder, says, "You need a drink or something." Friends of yours?
Yeah. I introduce my friends. Lucius, Star, Freeman.
She gives sort of a slight bow and says, "Ava Voss, though these jackasses just call me Mad Eye."
Well, can you blame them?
No. Well, you need a drink.
Yeah. You still do those like samplers?
Sure. Just one of everything. I don't know why you have to call it that.
Well, it sounds fancy.
Yeah, you've been here, Den.
Yeah, but they haven't.
Yeah, I'll just get one. Or get yourself a table, or push somebody off of one. She actually goes across. There's a long table over there, and there's a pirate currently kind of like curled up on top of it. She walks over, steps up onto the table, and just kicks him off of it. He rolls over onto the floor. She hops back down, takes a towel off her shoulder, and just wipes off the table. There you go.
Thank you.
And do you want the usual?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll get one of everything, and then a cabin boy for Den.
She doesn't listen to me. When you call them something fancy, like samplers or things like that, people will spend more money on them.
I'm pretty sure they're going to spend the money anyway, so I don't think she needs to.
You all sit down at the table. The pirate that's kicked off of it sort of like and goes stumbling across the room to another table and just kind of crawls up on top of it.
Does this happen often here?
Yeah.
And this is a slow day?
Yeah, well, so time. Once we hit twilight, then it gets rowdy.
I can't wait.
After about 15 minutes or so, Mad Eye Boss comes back with a large tray of drinks and slams it down on the table, picks up one of them, slams it in front of you, Dan, says, "Here's yours, and the rest of you, bon appetit." She begins to walk, and she kind of goes and hobbles away. She says, "I'll be back in a minute, then."
I just pick up a random mug and start drinking from it, because why not? Can't go wrong at all.
Why did they call her Mad Eye?
Oh, you seen her eye? She's just a character.
Works for me. He picks up a random drink and just drinks it too.
All right. Then you sort of describe, or as they begin to drink, do you kind of tell them what it is they have in front of them?
I do, but after they drink it.
Okay. So you, Star, grab one and throw it back. And it's a wine, very thick and sweet, has like a plum aftertone to it. Den, you point out this is Peg Leg's plum wine. You, Lucius, grab one and toss it back as well. This one is a dark ale. Has a just kind of a salty sort of flavor to it, but a very rich sort of almost. I'm trying to think of a good description, but very rich flavor to it. And you hear, or Den, you know that this is the Salt Crust Ale. There's also the Mad Eye Moonshine, the Gut Rot Rum, the Cabin Boy, which Den is drinking, and the Renegade Rum, and the Swashbuckling Scotch.
I take the swashbuckling scotch and I give it to Freeman because I think he'll like it.
Takes a very dainty sip.
Just very odd to see because the glass is very small in his hand. Just sort of sips. So you see some of it sort of running down the gears and sort of leaking out the sides of his mouth.
But the man knows how to sip scotch.
After a little bit, Mad-Eye comes back to the table, pulls up a chair, and screeches across the floor and slams it down. She sits backwards in it and says, "So, Dan, tell me your story. What you been doing in Graldar?"
It's a long one.
Well, Windwalker's involved. I'm sure it's very complicated.
Give her the short version
Okay.
of what happened in Graldar. Mostly about, like, the Oni and, like, giants, fighting giants, and, like, Gorefang, and that stuff. And then a little bit about the portal, but not the important part.
Well, shit. That was a long one.
That was a short version.
Well, thank you for the short version. I have work to get back to. Sounds like it's been exciting.
Yeah.
Well, glad to see you're all right. I guess thank the rest of you for bringing this one back.
She won't tell anyone else, but she likes having me around.
At least you pay well. So, can I get anything else for the rest of you? More drinks?
I like this, what did you call it? Rum?
Yeah, I can get you another gut rot and anything else?
This, what was it? The Mad-Eye Moonshine, that.
All right. It's our specialty here. Well, if you need anything else, just let me know. We also have some food, though it's not very good. And if you're looking for company for the evening, you can head on upstairs. All right?
Thanks, Mad-Eye.
Okay. Good to see you, Den. She sits up from the chair, kicks out from underneath her, and heads back to the bar.
So, what else is there to do in here other than drink and pass out?
Or you can eat.
Well, I mean, you could eat and then you... Never mind. I'm not going there.
Where?
Oh, nothing. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, top floor's a brothel. So.
Well, yeah, I was going to make a pun, but never mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff to do in the city. Other than that, I would at some point like to show you guys my temple that's here.
Is that in the Cove of the Gods or whatever it's called?
The Bed of the Gods.
The Bed of the Gods. I apologize.
You don't have to apologize.
Well, I didn't know what it was called. I knew it was something of the gods.
Well, that's the important part. Yeah, there's lots to see.
Lots to do. In more ways than one.
What is the difference between pun and innuendo?
That is not a question that I know how to answer.
Well,
not all innuendos are puns, but puns are vice versa.
Star, you probably know the answer to that.
You know the answer to this.
well, a pun is typically a play on words, so where some words sound like others, so you can insert them into a sentence. Like some people here would like consider me particularly saying something like "cat's got."
The doors to the bar go busting open, and you see two figures come kind of stumbling in. Two Triton. One of them, small, lean, wearing looks like leathers, no shirt underneath, kind of like rippling muscles, seems like self-confident as he walks in, kind of staggering, has a number of tattoos, piercings down the fins on the side of his head, tattoos that run down the base of his head and his neck, down his back, braided hair with golden rings down it. Another one, a towering figure, broad-shouldered, burly, standing about 7 feet tall, built like a tree, comes walking behind him. The ground of the floor of the establishment sort of creaking as he walks in. A few of the pirates look back and kind of as the two of them make their way through the bar. The smaller of the two looks over, kind of scans the room, waving at a couple of people, and then sees you, Den, and says, "Well, shit. Den, is that you?"
Yes. Hello.
He laughs and comes kind of rushing over, pulling between the tables. His brother behind him, kind of pushing the tables themselves apart as they rush over across the bar. The younger one, Angler, comes rushing over and kind of grabs you by the shoulders, pulls you out of the chair, and gives you a big hug. And claps you on the shoulders and says, "You're back in town and you didn't tell us.
I just walked in.
And this was the first place you'd come. This shithole here.
Oh yeah. Wouldn't you?
Fair enough. Well, you should have come over and said hi at least on your way up."
Yeah, we were making our way around.
Yeah. We're trying to make our lineup for tonight, and it would have been nice to know if Den was back in town.
Yeah, about that.
What, you don't fight anymore?
No, I fight more than ever before. I have someone you would really love to meet.
And who's that?
Freeman? Angler? This is my friend Freeman.
The Triton looks over, kind of scanning over the table towards you, Freeman. His eyebrow raises and he says, "No, what is that?"
That is a fighter.
"I don't even know if anyone would want to fight. This Freeman is your name? Does it have a name?"
He is a person.
Angler walks up towards you and kind of inspects you a bit, getting a little too close into your personal space, and says, "I haven't seen a creature like you before, Mr. Freeman. Do you fight?"
Yes.
Would you like to make some money fighting?
I kind of looks. He's like, "That is not why I fight."
Well, we all fight for different reasons, but perhaps, Den, you should bring them to the pits later.
Oh yeah, planning on it.
Are there good fighters there?
The best in the city.
Does the city have good fighters? I've never heard of them.
Angler sort of steps back and says, "He's a somber fellow, isn't he?"
He's been through a lot. We pulled him out of the ocean.
We have some of the best swordsmen in all of this area.
he kind of just turns slightly and he's like, I would like to see the best swordsman of this area.
I'd like to see
Good.
you fight him.
No. Maybe we even get Hammerhead here to fight again. And the burly, large Triton behind him, who's probably about the same height as Freeman. I don't know exactly how tall you are. But probably around the same size, bulk and everything. And he looks down. I would fight this one.
So, friends of yours from the pits, I'm guessing?
Yeah, everyone, these are the twins.
The younger, or the smaller one says back, says, forgive our rudeness, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Angler, and this is my little brother, Hammerhead, here. Two of the greatest fighters in all of Port Onryx. And the Divide, I would wager.
You'd wager on anything.
I would, and I make a lot of money doing it.
So, quick question, because there's something I'm good at. I'm wondering if there's anywhere in this town I could go to do it. Knife throwing? Anywhere I could go and show that off, maybe?
Depends what you want to throw it at.
Preferably a target. I mean, I've thrown them at people before, but if I'm just doing it for fun, I'd prefer to keep them clean.
Oh, we have performers all over the city. If you're looking to make a few gold here and there, just set up a spot.
Thank you for your advice. It's quite an interesting town, I must say.
Well, just be quick on retrieving them. Somebody else might take your daggers if you leave them wherever you throw them for too long.
I'm sure I can move faster than most people in the city.
So, Dan, should we see you at the pits later?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Well, we're gonna grab a drink. It's good to see you. And Angler and Hammerhead go kind of charging through the bar, or through the tavern towards the bar.
Can I use a feature that I've never used in my entire life?
Sure.
There's a soul or a fighter thing where you size people up.
Okay.
Let me try to get I have it somewhere in my sheet. If I'm observing someone outside of context, it's called Know Your Enemy.
That's right. Yeah.
Observing Hammerhead outside of combat. I guess I'd like to know what his total class levels, if any.
Okay. Let's see. I'll pull it up.
And all you have to answer is like equal, superior, or inferior. You don't have to
Okay.
like be specific. Sorry.
Let's see. Gotta get sheet pulled up. It's not expecting this.
Neither was I. I've never seen this used ever in my entire life.
Yay, fighters. Yeah, it's a really cool fighter feat, or fighter thing.
Let's see. Class levels. Equal.
Cool. I'm intrigued.
So, what else are you guys? Oh, we just had some. Savannah just disappeared. What else would you guys like to do?
Well, there's lots of places we can go. We can go to the Bed of the Gods. Show you all around there. We can go to the pits. I know Freeman. You look excited. I assume he doesn't look excited at all.
Well, he doesn't look
I was about
excited.
to ask, can he smile or anything?
I'm gonna say if he can, he doesn't. He's very just keeps the same neutral expression, and like, I think this might be a worthy opponent.
I love it. I think it's a great plan. And there's also lots of shops and things around. So whatever you guys want to do. I just like being here.
I mean, the things that I can do probably aren't conducive to this place, so it's up to everyone else.
Wherever people want to go, I will follow, I guess. I would prefer to just look around more and see the people anyway, and the city itself.
Let's take a trip to the bed of the gods, and then we'll swing back around to the pits.
Works for me.
We can't go to Guns and Smiths without Saddle.
I mean, we could get him a gift, but I don't think he would. If we got the
I don't know
wrong
what he would
gift,
like. I mean,
right.
They wouldn't know it.
I don't know. You never know. Maybe he'd just like a nice little basic gun.
We could maybe get him a gift certificate.
I don't think that's a thing that pirates do. Is that like credit?
Hey.
I don't know. I just made it up.
They hate that.
I don't think it's an actual thing.
It is now.
One day Lucius takes this idea all across Sarthia.
We should tell Sadel for his shop he can start doing gift certificates.
Don't know what your person wants to buy? Well, then just pay for this, and then they can get whatever they want. It costs that much.
That's genius.
million gold idea right there.
Alright, so I'll take him down to the bed of the gods for a bit.
Okay. So you all head out of the bar. It's a little past midday at this point. Down the riggings and the ramps and steps all the way back down to the base of Port Onryx. As you reach the steps that you came in from the harbor, you round and begin heading downwards towards the water itself. And there's a very narrow pathway that's just basically right at water level that leads around to this grotto. The waves themselves actually come crashing over the rocks, making it sort of treacherous to walk across. Though with sure footing, you all slowly and make your way across the base of this ledge, eventually turning and entering this grotto carved into the side of this cliff. It extends back about 50 or 60 feet. The walkway leading up to a ledge that wraps around the back of the cave. Across the walls of the interior, there are hundreds of carvings, look to be hand carved and very old, all across the inner structure. And the carvings depict faces and symbols and constellations and celestial bodies, representing different gods and powerful entities worshipped and revered across all of Sarthia. You see the Six, you see some of the lesser gods, you see some of the demon lords and the archdevils and the archphantoms, all carved into the walls around here. There are probably 10 or so people currently gathered around the narrow ledges that surround this, the pool of water at the center of this cavern. And the whole thing sort of has a keyhole type shape where the ledges extend outward towards the exterior of the cave, and then inward again that forms this salt water, this ocean pool towards the back. There are some altars, 6 of them, around the walls towards the back of the cave, with different offerings upon them, small bowls with gold and shining rocks, gemstones, pearls, Some looks like decaying animal remains, bones. Other things just look like they've been offered and left here for the gods. There are a couple of individuals in robes tending to the area, cleaning and sweeping. And some of them see you all enter and give a bow towards you in reverence.
A bow back.
I bow back, copying down after seeing her do it.
And you see at the pool in the far back of the cave, there is a woman sitting there, sitting at the edge or the lip of the pool, her feet dangling over into the water. A elven-looking woman with porcelain white skin, a long face, high cheekbones, and blonde, almost white hair in 3 braids down her shoulders and back. And she's wearing white robes, similar to what the other priests are wearing, but cleaner and definitely more that pure white. And she's simply sitting there, looking down into the water, kicking at the waves.
Do you all like to see some real magic?
I mean, I think most of the people here can do real magic.
Don't spoil the fun.
While she's doing that, and as we walk in and you see all the carvings, Lucius tries to see if he can see a carving of the phantom he saw when he died, King Morart.
Okay.
Just to see, because I'm like, if there's that many, maybe there's a depiction of it somewhere.
Good. You make an investigation check. Actually, yeah, we'll do investigation. That's fine.
Okay, normal investigation. 6.
You keep an eye out, but there's just
There's just way too
tons
many
of them. It's hard to pick out specific ones. Then you begin to approach, and the woman's still looking down at her, and she looks young. I mean, as you all approaching, she looks elven, so it's hard to gauge age. But even for an elf, she looks very, very young. And as she's kicking at the water, she stops for a moment. She says, Denowin, Elendron, Talia, Norian, Nelsrieth. Haven't seen you here for a while.
I've been away.
What brings the champion of Seraphine back to our humble glade?
Just come home for a bit.
I don't know if I fully believe that or not.
I brought my friends to see you.
Ah, yes. I see we have strangers here. Welcome. Welcome to the bed of the gods. You are welcome here for as long as you wish to stay. They call me Reverie.
Oh, it is pun, right?
This one's funny.
He's learning to be.
So while we're here, I know I could probably look for it, but which way is your shrine or thing to Lilith?
She looks over towards you. Her eyes are light, they almost look pure white, but you can definitely see there is like a faint blue iris, like the lightest blue you could see, to the point of being white. Gives her this sort of mystical appearance. She looks up towards you and she says, "Oh, one of the tabaxi? I see. We don't get many here that worship the moon goddess, but yes." And without looking, she points a hand to her right and directly at the symbol of a moon on the wall. She says, "You may reach out to your goddess there."
I am going to go over to the shrine. Not actually going to say anything. Just look at it for a few minutes, and then I will get out of my pack the little stone I have. That is the one that I got from one of the Tabaxi villagers, the one that was decorated by one of the children there. I will be putting that on the altar, then rejoining the group.
Okay. Place that onto the altar nearest to that symbol, among a few other offerings near it, and head back towards the group. You see Reverie just watches Star as he returns and then looks back. She says, "Any other guidance I can give?"
If there's anything you wish to provide.
I haven't had any visions to speak of that would aid you on your journey. I've seen your approach, though not your destination.
We'll pray for guidance then.
Perhaps. She looks down at the waters and kicks at them a bit. There is something. I had a dream the night before. Of a darkness. A ghost moving amongst the waters. I did not wish to look on it for long, but it continued to approach. I fear it's not far off now.
Is there anything we can do?
Perhaps when the time comes. That will be for you to decide. It does not come for you. But you may have a part to play.
Who does it come for?
Someone with a dark past, who sought to escape their many wrongdoings within the comfort of our port. Though there are many that could apply to.
Any of us?
They know it comes for them.
Thank you.
I'll let you know if I receive any further guidance.
I bow a little bit. Then I go to my shrine that I have. Freeman, do you pray to any gods?
No.
You might like mine. Come on.
He complies.
So you head over to the shrine near the sigil. I can't think of words. Sigil of Alarius on the far wall, and near it there is another carving depicting the symbol of Seraphim.
Do you know Alarius, Freeman?
No.
She's the war god, the god of fighters and strength and all those things.
Is that who you follow?
No, that's who my god follows. This is my god. I show him the symbol of Seraphim. She's the god of storms and the sea and things like that.
Maybe she was with you on our journey.
It's possible. But she and Alarius, I think, watch over people like us.
Why?
Why not? We're the best they have.
I hope that is not true.
Are you saying you don't think I'm a good fighter?
Know thy enemy? I'm kidding. I would imagine he's probably already sized her up at this point. He's, no, that is not what I'm saying. Just, there's more out there than I can do or you can do alone.
Well, I like to think the gods are with us, with me, when we go on journeys like this, when we're out on the sea, when we're fighting. Maybe they brought us together. I can't do things on my own. You can't do things on your own, but together, there's quite a lot we can do.
He stays silent. He doesn't respond, but he just kind of like looks at the shrine that you've pointed him to, kind of silently.
You mind if I pray?
And he turns to you slightly and then turns back towards the shrine. In kind of a not super emotive, but yeah, sure, why not?
I will say out loud the prayer, the one that I also have tattooed on me, just so Freeman can hear me, because I like to think I'm making an impression on him. I say this a lot in my head, but it's nice to hear it out loud sometimes. Let me stand watch under Our Lady's gaze, strong as the thunder, swift as the lightning, powerful as the gale. Let me wield Our Lady's power, proving my strength and commanding the swirling tempest in her name. Let me shield Our Lady's faithful, the protectors of her realm, and shepherd the lawful into the eye of the storm. And let her watch my friends, even those I've just met, and keep them in her grace.
He doesn't respond, but inside, it's like,
And his heart grew 3 sizes that day.
While Din is doing this, like, how far is Lucius away from Reverie at this point?
When you guys were having your conversation, you were maybe like 10 feet away. So
Okay. While Star goes off and does his thing, and while Den goes off to do hers, he like squats down on his hunches so he's not like looming over her. And in Celestial looks at her and says, "Does the name King Mort of the Hollow Eyes mean anything to you?"
She squints for a moment, looking down, looks back over to you. She says, returning in Celestial back to you, says, "A dark name, not one spoken often here. One of death, one of darkness." Why?
Unlike my very good friend Ben over there, I don't really take much stock in deities. I've never had the need. But I had an experience a few months ago. And for the first time, I died. For real. And not in battle. It was something else. When I died, I was... I don't know the term for it. Maybe a vision. That's maybe what you could classify it as. But I saw... It's hard to describe. And he describes basically in the short verse what he saw. You know, the three, I guess, like layers of whatever he saw with each of the three kings. And I was... They tried to revive me, and this creature, this phantom, shadowy thing, and he kind of uses his own shadow powers to kind of enhance that. It's like thing kept me from being brought back until he wanted it, or it wanted it. I know the names. I know the three names, and that one was... that stuck out to me, and I'm trying to find more about it.
She continues looking down towards the water, seeing the ripples of it kind of kicking her feet. She looks back towards you and says, "Death comes to all when it will. Learning of it is something that many who come here wish to do. If you've met death, then perhaps you share some connection with it. I'm afraid I don't have answers for you. My dreams tell me much, but not all. I have seen the fear and the distaste for death in many. This fear is where those who have sway over it derive their power. Be wary of that.
With everything I've seen and been through and done, I'm not really afraid of death. I know I'm going to die sooner or later. I'm actually surprised I lived this long. It's just, again, this and he brings out the vapor puppet. Just has been with me all of my life, and I can't find anything about it. And every chance I get, any person I come against or come up to who might have dealing with the other side, I at least try to ask.
The dreams I walk span the divide between life and death, neither living nor not. But I have no special power or understanding of it more than any other. But I know its movement, and I know death's embrace. As I said, death comes to us. Those who go running towards it rarely learn what it really means. So let it come to you.
I'll try. Thank you, though.
I shall let you know if my dreams tell me more.
He just, for the first time, he does like a small bow, stands up, and then walks back.
You all say have your prayers and meditation, anything you're doing before you guys are leaving.
As we're
Before we-
leaving- Go ahead.
Okay.
Just before we go, I just say to everyone quickly, I would like to stay and have a quick chat with Revelry. If you just tell me where you're going, I can catch up.
I think we're going to the pits.
I'm pretty sure Din wants to go there.
I will meet you at the pits then.
You sure you don't need anyone to stay here just in case?
I'll be fine.
All right. If you don't show up within 45 minutes, we might send someone.
Freeman will miss you.
And I will miss him. It? Her? Them. I will miss them.
He awkwardly doesn't help this situation by responding.
As we're on our way out, I just kind of clap Lucius on the shoulder.
Yes,
You find what you were looking for?
not at all.
I thought you'd like it here.
It's peaceful. I don't get enough of that.
There's a lot here. You can always come back.
I just might. Who knows? Maybe I'm not meant to understand what I'm looking for.
Don't think any of us are. But it doesn't hurt to ask.
Nah. I mean, it hasn't yet. Maybe one day it will. But I've died once, so what's the worst that could happen?
She might be able to help you.
At the moment, she can't. But who knows? I could live a long time. Maybe one day. Come on,
Let's
let's go to the pits.
Okay. So all of you except for Star begin heading off. Star, you back over towards the edge of the pool where Reverie is sitting.
So, you said the Tabaxi don't come here for the Shrine of Leatherbath that much?
No. Not really.
God, maybe it's the stories, like the moons are her eyes watching what we do as they soar on the skies, or how she looks down. Maybe they're ashamed of what they're doing and don't want her to see. I don't know.
I found that many who reject what they are and venture away from it do whatever they can to leave it behind them. Those from Galdar who make their way here rarely seek what reminds them of home.
Currently, I'm leaving a lot behind, but I have a lot to go back to. I was always taught to revere Lilith and the moon, but I couldn't because of things, and Star removes the bandana on his arm, which is the crescent moon. I feared it in some ways, looked upon it in others. I don't know what to think right now.
I will dream on it for you.
While I'm here, for sale, would you have any iconography or talismans of Lilith I could take with me?
She shakes her head. She says, "We do not typically have such offerings here. Those that come leave things behind, and some take things with them." She sneezes.
She's allergic to cat hair, damn it!
Like 11 people all cast bless at the same time.
Oh, that was really good. She says, "I don't have any to offer, but..." She looks down into the water. "Some do take stones and reminders with them. Perhaps down there is something that you seek." You look down to the shallow pool, and there's like a cluster of rocks and shining other objects in the bottom of the pool.
Without saying anything, without even looking, I will just reach in, grab the first thing my hand finds, and take it out.
Reach into the pool, root around for a bit, and you find something solid, and you pull it out, and you look in your hand, and you see a smooth, like almost like a river stone. It has sort of an ivory or off-white color, with a stain towards one side in a circle, giving it almost like a crescent moon sort of coloration.
Hey, thank you for your time. I'm sure I'll be back before we all leave.
Perhaps I'll have more answers then, after I rest. Do come back.
Thank you. It's helped a lot. And Star leaves.
You begin walking out. You see Mary looks back towards some of the priests there, and they walk over and kind of stoop down and pick her up. And they carry her out of the room. You see her legs sort of dangling, and you get the impression here as you leave that while she was sitting there, she wasn't kicking at the water, but the water was instead moving her legs back and forth. And they carry her from the room. That didn't take that long. If you could probably catch up with your friends.
I can probably move fast enough to catch up with them, no problem.
Yeah, and you actually
minutes later.
you guys all see as you're making your way up the steps. You hear Star rushing.
Actually, no. I want to sneak up on them and just. I want to try sneak up on them first.
Make a stealth check.
I have the alert feat. I can't be surprised.
We shall see.
17.
17. I think Den's passive perception is
18.
above that. So
Damn what I was going to try and do is sneak up on Den and just go hands on the shoulders. Boo!
So Den and Lucius, you guys aren't surprised. You don't see him coming, and he still sneaks up on you, but you're not thrown off from it. You're able to respond quickly to it. Den, you actually hear him coming, and can hear him.
I let him sneak
Okay.
up on me, and I let him, and as soon as he puts his hands on my shoulders, I like judo flip him over.
Make an athletics check.
What? He's a cat. He weighs like 10 pounds. 24.
24. I'm gonna say that's probably not.
That is a success. Star is not expecting this at all.
But
I'll be honest.
I don't let him hit the ground. I like
Yeah, you
flip
just
him over
catch.
like I'm gonna, elbow drop him, and then I don't hurt him.
Okay. You flip him over and kind of catch him as you do, and Star, you suddenly find yourself like sailing through the air and then landing on the ground on the other side.
You are very loud for a cat.
But as you guys make your way up towards the pit, as you guys begin to make your way up the steps, the sun is beginning to sort of set in the distance, just cresting over some of the western islands, some of the light snow that was falling beginning to dissipate as the winds begin to pick up. As you make your way up towards the pits, there's a cavern leading into the side of the cliff that you're going up towards the den. You see there's actually quite a large crowd gathered outside of it, making their way in. Larger than normal. As you begin to approach, you can see the groups of pirates sort of gathering around, talking to one another, kind of calling out, excited for whatever fights they might see, saying, "I wonder if the hammer will fight again." So, I don't know. He got his ass beat last week, but we'll just have to see. And more like betting and stuff going on. You do pick up a few bits of conversation too, Den in particular, with your high passive perception. You hear a group of them towards the outside kind of talking. It says, "It's been a while since the ale house has been closed. Haven't seen Ava close her doors in years now." The other one says, "Shipments from the brewery have been scarce. Maybe she ran out of supplies." The other pirate chimes in and says, "Maybe. Way she just kicked everyone out, though. Never seen anything like that happen before." They sort of begin pushing their way into the interior.
Den will remember this.
Okay. So you're continuing inside?
Can I? The people that were having that conversation, they've like gone in, or are they?
They're sort of in front of you, like shuffling in with the crowd.
Do I recognize any of them?
Not particularly. They're just travelers or people that in the port. They look like sailors.
I try to stop one of them. One of the smaller ones who looks like if he gives me trouble, I can beat him up.
Okay. None of them are particularly big. There's one kind of saltier looking older sailor that you tap on the shoulder of. He looks back towards you. He has a large scar over one eye, which is sort of perpetually closed, and he squints back in your direction and says, "Yeah?"
My friend, won't take much of your time. You said the alehouse is closed.
Yeah, sort of a disappointment. I was just getting I'd had a few drinks, but not enough yet.
Fair enough. Did, Mad Eye say why?
No. Someone came in, gave her something, and then she told everyone to get out.
Weird.
Yeah, she seemed spooked.
She doesn't seem like that. Ever.
No, never seen her. She's one of the toughest old pirates I've seen in here. I'd never seen anything get to her like that.
Yeah. Did you see who came in, who brought her whatever it was?
Oh, just some kid, some courier, delivering letters.
Human? Elf?
Probably human. Didn't get a good look at him. Yeah, she kicked everyone out, closed her doors. Now we're just looking for another place to have a drink.
Well, as good a place as any.
Yes, so. Get some entertainment along the way. But yeah, I hope she's alright. Doors better be open tomorrow. There'll be a riot.
Yeah, I don't want to be there for that. Thanks for your time.
Begins to sort of shuffle in.
I look very concerned.
Okay.
Dan, do you want one of us to go check that out?
No. I mean, Mad Eye's gonna do what Mad Eye's gonna do, but maybe tomorrow, if the house isn't open, we'll go by, see what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
So, who wants a good fight?
You know, Tabaxi don't really use their fists. I don't really want to get stabbed with a sword. I think I'll leave this to you and Freeman here.
Yeah, I can blast people from really far away, but the up close and personal stuff's not really what I do.
Well, if we start losing...
Then I will make sure that the other people lose, and then I will raise them and help them win more things.
Yeah, don't get caught.
It doesn't have to be personal.
I like him.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad we pulled you out of the ocean.
So you all push your way in with the crowds, and you see the area opens up into a much larger, cavernous interior. There are torches lighting the walls, interspaced around the room. Probably 50 or 60 people gathered in clusters around. There are tables set up towards the edges where people are placing bets. And in the center of the room, there is a raised platform with a series of pillars around it. The platform is stained with blood from previous fights and made of like a solid gray stone, smooth. And there's a crowd gathering around it. You can see two figures in the center currently just brawling. Looks like a human, sort of a heavy set, a human dark-skinned man with a shaved head, currently duking it out with looks to be a rather kind of thin and lanky Goliath. The two of them just bare-knuckled brawling in the center of the arena. The crowd cheering as punches land, and the two of them rolling around, grappling on the ground, getting up, kicking, punching, clawing. It seems like no holds barred just full knock drag-on fights.
I do
So-
actually have a question.
Yeah.
So, having lived here for a while, having been here, do I have a sense of like what the rules are of the pits, like what's allowed and what's frowned upon, where the line is?
I mean, the different sorts of fights. Some with weapons, some like you're seeing there, are just sort of brawls. Typically stop short of killing people, at least intentionally, and no audience participation.
But basically, whatever you agree upon.
Yeah, the
fight you
terms of the
sign up
fight.
for.
The terms of the fight are decided by the individuals fighting.
Cool. No audience participation.
Yeah, and you see,
This isn't the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
and you can see Hammer and Angler on sort of towards the side of the arena, standing there, sort of moderating the fight.
Well, Freeman, you want to fight someone?
Yes.
Do you always fight alone?
No.
You want a friend?
And like once again, the pit camera kind of pans in, and inside just like bloop, bloop. Sorry. And he said, "Yes."
Come on. I look at Lucius and Star and say, if we die, get our stuff.
All right. I'll make sure you are buried in the way the Triton want to be buried.
Don't. Just take the flail.
Oh, I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
Like everything. Like your body will just be like on the shore somewhere. Nothing else. I will take everything.
That's fine. Just
Okay, good.
you get my stuff before anyone else gets my stuff.
Right. So, what are the rules on here?
Whatever
Like-
you agree to.
All right.
No audience participation.
Oh, so I can't like give you the vapor puppet right now to help you guys.
No.
Damn.
It's really. Don't get caught.
So I shouldn't actually do anything because as you can tell, it's probably easy for me to stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Have fun. Don't die. If you do die, I'll take your stuff.
Good. I want you guys to have my stuff before anyone else does.
He does that whole friendly like shoulder tap thing, your buddy.
That's what this group does. We just punch each other in the shoulder.
Right?
Little side hugs, like.
Yeah.
All right.
I give Freeman the friend punch with Robo Hand.
So do you go over to Angler and Hammerhead to
Yeah.
offer to fight? Okay. You make your way through the crowd, and Angler turns himself towards you as he's sort of calling out towards the arena. He looks over, sees you pushing away through the crowd, Den and Freeman, and says, "Oh, you made it! I was worried you weren't going to come. So, you looking to fight?"
The two of us, as a pair. Who you pit against us?
Let's see. And Nolo. They haven't fought yet tonight. They're a pretty good pair.
If you want to see red stains in the dirt.
Fight them. You haven't been here in a while. And you make a name for yourself. They want to see more. We'll set up a fight against some real challengers next time. Yeah, you do first. looks over towards you, Freeman, and says, I think you'll enjoy it. Ern's a big man. Not as big as you, but he knows his way around a sword.
Hopefully I can learn something.
All right, then. We'll get the fight started as soon as this. And as he looks over, you see the human man sort of large, just swinging uppercut straight into the Goliath's jaw, knocks him backwards, teeth sort of shattering and breaking back. The Goliath goes toppling backwards, boom, onto the ground. The whole crowd begins to cheer as the human sort of sways there for a second and then holds himself in place. And it looks like the Goliath isn't getting up. And Angler stops short and says, all right, fight's done. You're next.
I give an obligatory golf clap.
Everybody sort of applause, and everybody's sort of reeling as you're just standing there doing your golf clap. Angler leaps up into the arena, claps the human on the back, and holds up the hand and says, "And Mondroth wins. Collect your bets, and we'll be ready for the next one in a minute as a challenger returns to our pits here. Denowin and her companion Freeman will be fighting and Nolo." And the crowd begins to mutter amongst themselves as they look towards Freeman and Den, and then back across the room. You see two other figures, a kind of a beefy human man with a big black beard and a red bandana across his face. Gives a snarl over, or kind of a half smile snarl over in your direction. You see a couple gold teeth gleaming. Standing next to him, you see a shorter woman with kind of spiked black hair, wearing leather armor and two scimitars at her side. And she gives a nod over towards you. And the crowd begins to hush and rush towards the tables, begin throwing gold or pouches of gold coins down on the tables as well.
I look at Freeman. I hold out my hand in her handshake, and I say, "You ready to show your stuff?"
Yes. After we're done, there'll be brown stains in the carpet.
I laugh. I take his arm. I cast Enhance Ability on him. And I give him Bull's Strength, which gives him advantage on strength checks.
Okay. I like it.
So everyone begins to place their bets. Is anyone placing any bets?
As they do that, he walks up to Den, and almost this is like he does with both, Den and Freeman. But as he touches Den, he casts Death Ward on her.
Okay.
And just, may the fight be good, and I'm probably betting on you because I know how you can fight.
Fair enough.
I am going to go place a bet of 5 gold on Den and Freeman winning.
All right.
I will raise that bet and add another.
But I want to put mine with the caveat that they win by the opponents surrendering the fight, not through knockout.
It's pretty cool. I will do 10 gold on Den and Freeman by any means necessary because I know Den's just going to knock everyone out.
Okay. You guys mark down what you bet.
You guys have seen this flail. It's made of skulls.
So Den and Freeman, you step up onto the platform towards the center of the arena as the other fighters are make their way out. The Goliath being carried out towards the side. Also steps up onto the platform, and Nolo beside him. The two of them make their way towards the center. Nolo steps up and says, "I think I've seen you fight here before."
Who, me?
You, yeah.
It's possible. I've been around.
It's been a few years. Still know your way around.
You'd be surprised. I'd pull out the Gorfang flail.
She looks at it. She says, "So weapons then?"
Any other way's boring.
All right, I prefer that way too. Looks down and says, "Sounds good." The two of them kind of square up, take a few steps back. Angler steps up into the center of the arena, or the center of the fighting circle, and looks around and says, "Making friends, are we? All right. Looks like bets are being placed. A few more stragglers will make the way around, and hopefully the fight doesn't end before all bets hit the floor. Are we ready to begin? Terms have been agreed upon. Fighting with weapons, I presume?" Okay. We'll try not to kill each other.
I wink at her.
Within reason. And may the best fighters win. Angler makes his way to the side of the pits, looks around as the crowd begins to cluster towards the center, and holds up his hands. Begin! And I will go ahead and have everyone roll for initiative.
Alrighty. There I am. Cool. Ooh. Eager beaver.
Oh, you're so good.
Okay.
So, can you describe the opponents again for us, please?
Sure. So you have at the top there, you have Nolo, the woman with the spiked black hair. She's currently has two scimitars at her side. She is sort of lightly gripping. The other is which is a rather tall, probably 6.5 feet tall, human man, pretty bulky. With he is currently wielding. I think he's also wielding a scimitar, but this one is larger, more like it. Well, that one's more of a scimitar, which hers are more like cutlasses.
Okay. Are there, between the two of them, does one of them look more seasoned or more dangerous, like to a veteran like Freeman? Because he's gonna want to like take on what he thinks is like the stronger one, because that's who he wants to.
Looks like physically stronger, but they both look fairly seasoned in combat.
Okay, cool.
And as Angler yells begin, immediately goes rushing forward, and he's going to go straight towards you as the bigger opponent, Freeman. And he is going to make 2 quick slashes with his scimitar at you.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is going to miss, and the second one is going to miss.
Okay, so for this, well, either one, I'm gonna riposte.
Yeah, go for it.
And swing down on him. Okay. All right. So,
Tell our friends what you rolled.
That is a natural 20. So I don't think I add. Do I add the superiority die to damage? I'm gonna look that up real quick. Yes, I do. So I'm gonna add that as well, and I get to roll that twice then.
Yeah,
Holy
you
crap.
do. Yeah, crap.
Good lord.
All right. Let's see. I have. All right. So 1, 2. So 26.
Math.
So 37. Is that it?
That sounds right. 37 points of damage.
We're keeping Freeman.
Fighters,
as
man.
This one,
Fighters.
As comes rushing towards you with his scimitar, slashes down with the first one, you definitely sort of take your great sword and deflect the blade to the side. He goes to slash at you again, at which point you knock his hand away, take your sword and thrust forward and cut up, the blade dragging across the front of his armor and cutting pretty deep through it. He lets out a howl of pain as this happens and backs off for a second. You can see blood beginning to pool up through the armor. He looks back at you and quickly makes one more attack with his dagger. This one also misses, and he stabs back at you, but it's sort of as he's retreating, and you just knock that aside again with the palm of your blade. Yeah, he looks wrecked just from that one strike and seems thoroughly off balance right now. And that, Freeman, will bring it to you.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna lay into this fool and chase him down. I'm gonna open up with a trip attack if this hits. Normal roll. So 14.
14 misses.
Okay. Then I'm going to just swing again, standard. No. All right. So 2 swingies.
Okay. You come back slashing twice with your blade, but seems to be on the defensive now. Was there something you forgot?
Well, no. It wouldn't have worked. I forgot I have precision attack, but I don't want to use it now anyway. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you slash at him twice, and he, in sort of a panic state, fight or flight response, is weaving and dodging out of the way of the slashes. Now, really afraid of your greatsword.
Jeez,
all right. And you're staying right there, sort of in that position, toe to toe with him?
I'm going to position myself right here.
Okay. Den, that'll be your turn. As you see this conflict begin right off the bat between and Freeman.
I internally am like, yes, this is my new best friend. Are we outside?
No, you're in a cave.
This is in like a. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I will look toward my opponent over here. And I want to use my bonus action to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Okay.
Right behind her.
All right. So your spiritual weapon, kind of glowing, forms from a bead of sparking energy and forms in this large warhammer.
And it swings right at her head.
Okay.
21.
21. Let's see. Will hit.
That's 8 force damage.
All right. So the spiritual one forms and swings at her head from behind. You see her just instinctually seeing the sparking out of her eye, try to duck down. It just clips the side of her head. She staggers.
I say, the Lady of Storms smiles upon us, and I run at her and I just swing the flail.
Okay.
25.
25 hits.
6 bludgeoning damage.
6 bludgeoning. All right. So you move up into her space. All right. So you come rushing forward as the warhammer just grazes her from behind. She looks up. You swing up with the flail, and it connects like center of her chest in the leather armor, and she staggers back, kind of gasping for breath in that moment.
And then I use a free action to wink at her.
Okay. It's her turn then. As you wink at her, she looks up, kind of grinning in your direction, and she slashes at you very quickly with her dagger first. Or with her, no, sorry, her offhand scimitar first, not her dagger. That is going to hit you for 6 piercing damage. And then she is going to take her second attack. That misses. Her third attack. That hits for 7 points of piercing damage. And then she uses her bonus action to run away. So she uses her bonus action to disengage, and she goes 5, and sort of circles around over this direction away from you, dancing across the battlefield, dodging Freeman's axe or Freeman's greatsword as it comes wheeling around, and positions herself on the other side of there, looking over you, and returns the wink. And that will end her turn, putting it back to who is going to continue his assault towards towards Freeman with trepidation. He will make his 2 with his scimitar. That is going to miss. And then that is going to miss. Cannot roll for crap. And then he's going to make his last attack with his dagger, which is also going to miss. He cannot roll anything right now, and just continues to slash at you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna punish him for that. So, yeah, I'm gonna swing at him again.
Okay.
That's not nearly as good. I rolled 11. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Okay, 11. He cuts at you twice. You deflect the blade, one of them scraping across your armor. As you deflect his momentum, you swing around. This time he anticipates it, knowing it happened before, and ducks, letting the blade cut behind him and slam into the stone. He stands upright, regaining his posture. Pretty spry for somebody as large as he is.
Okay. Well, right. I'm going to swing him again when it comes to my turn. And if that hits, I'm going to do a trip attack.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 23, sorry. 23.
23
is what I rolled. And trip attack, he has to do a DC 16 strength save.
Strength save. He fails.
All right, so he is prone. He takes an extra... I am actually going to click the damage for the first thing. So 15 damage plus 6, so 21 damage. And then I'm going to swing it again with advantage.
Yes.
Which is a 28. This is
Man,
28.
you were just like up there, or like there's no in between.
Yeah.
That hits.
17 slashing damage.
17 slashing damage. You bring up the blade and cut down, like stab down towards the ground. He tries to roll out of the way, but the blade cuts to the side of him. And he lets out another cry of pain and is just reeling there on the ground as you rip the blade from the stone.
All right, I'll take a break. I'll save my actions.
Okay, yeah, good time to take a break. Okay, that'll put it to Denster.
I use a free action to go. Damn. I will bonus action, send my spiritual weapon over here. It's 20 feet
Yep.
after my opponent.
I think you like just make it.
And I think it's just 20 feet. Her little legs didn't run
Right there, yeah.
didn't run quite far enough away.
Yeah.
I'll swing my lightning infused hammer at her. Well, that's a 12, so probably not.
12 misses. Oh, I'll move it for you. The hammer comes swinging around, and she dodges out of the way, seeing it clearly coming this time as it slowly hovers towards her.
Dang it. Well, then I will use my action to turn around, grasp my holy symbol that I have. I'll pull that out. And I will guiding bolt her.
Okay.
21.
21 hits.
Yes. That's 14 radiant damage, and the next
Nice.
attack against her has advantage.
Nice. So the guiding bolt comes careening, kind of using the spiritual weapon as a bit of a distraction. The guiding bolt comes swerving underneath it and then connects just in her left shoulder, sending her spinning for a moment. She catches her footing, but then you see this glow sort of emanate through her. She looks down at it. Shit.
Our Lady smiles upon you this day.
She looks up. She says, "Will you stop saying creepy shit?"
And I'll stay where I am.
Okay. That brings it to her turn. She looks over towards you, gives a smile. She looks over towards Freeman, and then comes weaving around and comes up to attack at Freeman to the side there. And she is going to make her first attack, which is going to hit. For 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And then her second attack, which is going to also hit, because she rolls much better than her friend does, for 9 points of piercing damage.
All right.
And then she's going to do her third attack, which is also going to hit. I really made up for it on this turn.
All right.
For 7 points of piercing damage. And then, so she moved 5, 10, 15. She is going to use her bonus action to disengage and go 20, 25, 30, and move right there. And that will end her turn. Back to who is going to use half his movement to try to stand up.
Can I use my wait, she just engaged. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
She used okay, yeah. So uses half his movement to stand up to get off of the ground. He's slow to get up, given how much damage he's taken. And he is going to he's going to continue his assault towards you because he's not that tactical. So he is going to go ahead and make his predatory attacks. That is 22, so I think that also hits. Yes. So that hits for 9 slashing.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one misses, because of course it does. And then his last attack is a natural 1, so also misses.
Okay.
So he slashes at you one, gets him one good hit, feels good about himself, gets a little too cocky for the other two, and goes trying to slash with both blades at the same time. You bring up your sword and deflect those as well, the metal sort of scraping and sparking as it does.
So I'm going to riposte one more time.
Okay.
28.
28 hits.
So that'll be a 12 slashing damage.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then limping is going to 10, 15, pivot around you to get between you and Den.
Okay.
You see him holding a blade out to each side, looking to engage with the two of you.
Okay.
And Freeman, your turn.
All right. Then on Whomping, we shall go. And I will Whomp him once from here. 27.
That's a successful whomp.
So 15 damage.
15.
And as I'm Whomping, I'm moving up in this direction.
Okay.
And if he's still up, then I'm going to actually, yeah, I have to stay there now. So I'm gonna, whomp him once more. Does the 16 hit?
It would, but he finally gets to use this. He's going to use his reaction to parry the attack.
Okay.
So using his reaction, as he looks like the blade's going to make connection, he throws up his scimitar, is able to deflect it just enough to slam it to the ground.
Am I allowed to use precision attack at this point, or is that like that's? I feel like I don't know when you call that. Probably not. Well, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll do my last superiority die. So just 2 more.
2 more.
So 18.
Just enough to get a little check. Yeah, no, that was just enough to get it over.
Okay.
The
Cool.
UAC. All right, go ahead and make.
So 16.
All right. He begins to try to parry it, and as he deflects it to the side, you twist the blade, changing its direction and slashing horizontally towards him. My camera was out of focus. Slashing horizontally towards him. The blade cuts, sending him spinning. He collapses onto the ground, skids off to the side. He kind of goes as he tries to get up, but you see him kind of slump over and stop moving.
Okay. Then, those 2 attacks. So I'm going to. First, I'm going to second wind.
Okay.
I think no, I didn't. Oh, I did put a thing for it. So I'm going to get 8 HP with my bonus action back. And then I'm going to action surge and whirl around on the person who seems to be much better of the 2 of them.
Okay.
And like excited to actually go against like a real opponent. So I'm going to whomp her. Does she still have the effects of? Sorry, does she still have the effects of?
Yes, she hasn't been swung at yet. So
okay, so I have to. I'll roll again. I should have rolled it with advantage, but it's the exact same roll. 14 doesn't hit. So
what are the odds? You slash at her, seeing the glowing mark. You aim for it. She seems to anticipate where your strike's going to come from, though, and she wheels back just enough, and just the blade just barely grazes past her, and she bends over backwards at that moment.
Does advantage still carry on, or that is just whenever someone makes that first weapon attack?
It's
Savannah,
the
what?
next attack on them, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I have one more attack that won't be at advantage; it'll just be normal. 15.
15 also misses. And
she's wily.
Yeah, she is wily. You go to strike it again, and she dances over to the side, seeming very adept at evading your strikes.
I'm very pleased with this.
All right. Den, it is your turn.
Wow.
I think you're muted.
You're muted.
I am. Oh gosh, the curse is passed on to me today.
It wasn't me.
I, first of all, am going to recognize that I'm a bad player and should have made a concentration check for enhance ability when I took damage last turn.
Yeah, it hasn't really.
It hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, it hasn't come up yet. But go ahead and make a concentration check.
14.
DC was 10. None of the
So
strike
I
did.
maintain
But-
concentration.
Okay.
Just feel bad and feel like I should be honest. So I will use my bonus action to send my spiritual weapon up next to Freeman and take a swing at our opponent.
Okay.
That's a natural 20!
Okay. Go to roll damage.
That's, wow, 13 force damage.
All right. So the spiritual weapon comes sneaking up behind Freeman, comes out and slams down where she was kind of off balance, avoiding Freeman's last attack. You're able to strike her center chest. She falls over, hitting the ground, and then sort of suplexes up onto her feet.
She's so cool. All right. Then I will move around to this side of her. And I will swing the flail.
Okay.
And miss, because that's a 10.
All right, the foe goes whoosh, swiping around. She ducks out of the way. All right. That will be her turn then. And stuck between a rock and a hard place right now is going to make her strike at you. First strike at you, Ted. That is going to hit for 5 piercing damage.
Okay, I would like to use my reaction to do Wrath of the Storm.
Yes, you can.
So she has to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
DC 16.
And she fails that.
She takes 6. I'm gonna do lightning damage. So I would like to use my Thunderbolt strike and push her 10 feet back.
Okay, so she's gonna go 5, 10 there. She gets pushed back towards the edge as the lightning just strikes out at her. She winces as it happens, sort of reeling from the impact.
And I say, hit me again.
She is going to then let's see.
Rage. She's going to rage.
She's gonna rage. No, she is instead going to throw a dagger. As she reaches behind her, grabs one, and then hurls, flings it in back towards you, Dead. So you guys are just playing ping pong here. That is going to hit for 7 piercing damage. And she has a third attack. So she is going to go 5, 10. And she's going to cut at you, Freeman, with her scimitar. She's going to hit. She's much better than the other one for 12 piercing damage. And then she will use her bonus action disengage and go 5, 20 feet back that way.
I just changed my HP to 12 instead of subtracting my 12.
I hate that.
Let me try to figure out what it was. I
More
think
than 12.
I think I was like, I think it was I was around 48 or 45, and then so you said minus 12.
Yeah, minus 12.
That looks right.
I can see that.
So I'm
all far,
33
and
now.
I got really nervous. For a
Yeah,
second.
yeah,
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh, that was a big hit for him.
yeah. Whoops. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay.
That'll put it to Friedman's turn.
All right. Then I'm going to scramble after her. Super excited about this. And I'm going to attempt to grapple her.
Okay. Den, I need you to make a concentration check before.
first. I forgot. 19.
19, so you're good. All right, so you can go ahead and make a, I guess, an athletics check with advantage.
Okay. 23.
Advantage helps. She will make an acrobatics check. And she fails.
All right. And now it's just saying like, stop running.
So you rush up, lock your arms around her like a vice grip, holding her in place. She strokes her. She's like, shit.
Okay. I think that's an action, right? So that's
Yeah.
I think that's all I can do. So
Okay. But
That's
she is held in place now.
yeah.
Puts it to Dan, your turn.
Does she look really injured, or is she still doing okay?
She's looking pretty injured at this point.
Okay. I use my bonus action to send my spiritual weapon up next to her and kind of hold the hammer at her throat. And I just say, I think you've lost. And I think you want to tell everyone you've lost.
Are you making intimidation or are you casting some sort of spell?
Nope,
I can't.
I'm just intimidating her.
Okay. Make an intimidation check. Give you advantage on it because of the situation.
16?
16. Okay. You call out towards the arena in your smug voice, and she looks at, kind of over Freeman's shoulder at you and back. Is that all you're doing your turn?
Yep.
Okay. It's her turn, and she's going to very quickly kind of shank up towards Freeman 3 times with her dagger. It's a natural 1. It's a 25, so that'll hit.
Okay.
And a 24, so that'll hit. So that's a total of 13 points of piercing.
Okay.
And as she's struggling there, she step, and sees you just sort of holding her there, not really moving or wincing or anything. She says, Fine. I surrender. At which point the crowd erupts into applause. She kind of lets out an exasperated sigh and looks up in your face. Freeman says, Can you let me go now? You have terrible breath for a machine.
It was some sort of scotch. Although, it may have been the fish. Now that I think of it, it was probably the fish.
Regardless, please let me go. You've won.
He releases her and is like, You are a worthy opponent. I can't say the same thing for your friend.
She looks past you over towards her unconscious friend on the ground. Says, Yeah. He's good for a shield, though, for a little while. You fight well. What crew do you sail on?
I know this. This is a thing that I know and I'm familiar with.
It depends. Are you?
But I like the way that Din explains it, though.
Can I walk up to them?
You can. You start hear this awkward conversation going.
Seems you've lost today.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I surrendered.
What's your name again?
Nolo.
No.
It doesn't matter, no one's gonna remember it. Oh!
Oh, burn!
thaumaturgy.
Fine name for a fine warrior. We sail with the Fury Pirates.
I didn't know the Fury Pirates had such good warriors.
It looks like we've all learned something today.
Suppose we have. Well, it was good fighting with you, and she extends an arm. Clasps arms with you. Offers the same to Freeman. And she says, I'll tell my captain that there are some strong warriors here in port. Maybe we'll get you to switch over to our side.
You wish.
Well, if you're down in the harbor, come over to the Lust and we can have a drink.
And if you find yourself at Mad Eye's Ale House, I might be around.
Okay then. I need to see what I can do with that guy. And she begins walking over towards her and goes to kind of lug him up and starts dragging him off the platform.
Is he unconscious?
Yeah, he's unconscious.
I feel bad. I go over and I cast a little cure wounds on him.
Okay. Comes back to consciousness, still looking pretty bad. Is able to get to his feet. Grunts over towards you. Thanks.
No worries.
He looks over past you towards Freeman and kind of very quickly tries to make his way out of the pit.
Freeman ignores him. He's not interested in this dude. He's more interested in Nolo. Like, she's a good fighter.
And there was not.
Am I very familiar with the Lust?
Yeah, it's one of the 7 ships of the Sin Pirates.
Do you know the Sin Pirates, Freeman?
Sorry, that's my dog scratching at the crate. He just shakes his head no.
No fights for them.
Are they all as skillful as she is?
Not all, but she's probably one of their best.
This was fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. And probably won our friends some money, so.
This was not the pits.
Did you just make a pun?
I did.
Freeman, I think you're gonna like it here.
I think so too.
Give him a hug. A bit like a bro hug. Like,
Okay.
you know.
He pats her on the head.
Is he super tall? Den is not very tall.
I don't know, like almost 7, I guess.
Den's like 5 feet tall.
Okay,
And,
yeah.
and
he's
jacked, but like 5 feet tall.
Yeah. He's pats. He's seen people pat before. He knows. He's learned that in his travels.
The rest of you recoup your money. Lucius, you receive double your bet, so you receive 5 gold in addition to the 5 you wagered. Star, since you placed a more specific bet, you receive 3 times your wager, so you get 15 gold pieces, including the 5 that you bet. All right. So the crowd begins to sort of gather. Another fight begins to take place in the arena. Where would you guys like to go? Kind of some of you may be a little bit beat from the events. Staying here or going anywhere else?
More fights, back to the ship, somewhere else to drink.
I mean, didn't say that Madai had shut her doors. I mean, I know I've already met her, but she made an impression. Should we go check on her just to see?
It'd make me feel better if we could swing by.
All right, then let's do that.
You leave Angler and Hammerhead giving you a nod as you make your way out, as Angler begins to introduce the next fight as two more strapping warriors step up into the arena. You exit the cavern. You make your way up the steps back towards the top of the cliffside where you see Ava's Ale House, and you can see that it's quiet. There isn't anybody there, which is very strange to you, Den. You can see a little bit of a light inside. Looks like there is somebody in there. There's a fire going or some torches lit, but you don't hear anybody celebrating or drinking or frolicking.
I try to do a sending spell
Okay.
to Mad Eye and just say, we heard there was trouble. Don't know what, but if you're in the ale house, let us in. We can help.
Okay. You send the somebody outside is honking. I don't know why. You send the spell. You don't get a response. You wait for a moment, thinking that she might not be coming. And then you hear a latch from inside the door. Door swings open. There's a chain across the front of it, actually, like a couple chains. She looks out. Come in. She closes the door, unlatches it, opens it back up for you to come inside.
Go in.
You enter the alehouse. She closes the door, latches three of the chains behind you, and closes the bar in front of the door. And she walks over towards the bar where you can see a bottle of whiskey on the counter and a glass there that she appears to be drinking out of. She walks over and she grabs the glass and sits down at the bar stool, looks back towards you and says, should have known you'd stick your nose in this.
What's happened?
She reaches over to there's a scroll, looks like it's been opened on the bar. She reaches over and grabs it, crinkles in her hand a bit. She holds it up to you. Got that earlier.
I take it and I try to read it.
It's in common.
I'm still not very good at reading.
If it looks like Den has trouble making out some of the words, I will offer to take it off her hands and read it out loud to the group.
Oh. We actually get a letter.
Can the stream see it, or do we need to read it to the stream?
Are you in the stream see it? So?
Hang on.
Oh, not yet.
Now they can.
Okay.
JH.
Start reading it out loud.
Star does read it out loud.
Captain
What is this, the seal? Do you recognize it?
She downs the rest of her drink, slams it on the counter. She says, "It's been 100 years or so. I know it. I guess my chickens have come home to roost then."
Do I know it?
No. Never seen this before. She, oh, go ahead.
Oh, history roll?
Sure. I'll allow people if you're...
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Although I will say this. Well, anyway, it's fine. I'll just roll it. So, 22.
I'm proficient in history as well, but
You can make one too if you want. Yeah, I'll bear in mind your life experiences, Star, but
well, I only rolled an 8 anyway. I don't know why that rolled with advantage.
okay. You do recognize it, Freeman. It kind of go back in your data banks a bit, but
Scrolling back to my GeoCities pages. Like,
yeah. You recognize it's a familiar. It's a sigil of a crest of a prominent noble house in Roran. The Hounds, or Hound was their name. They were a prominent sort of merchant family back in Roran a long time ago. And you know that they died off around the time of the war or the rebellion. And not much is known why, but that is their crest, though it hasn't been used you haven't seen it in some time.
What was the name of the house again?
Hound.
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 Yeah. So he looks over and I thought that house had ended long ago.
She pours herself another drink, looks back towards you and says, I was the one who ended it. Not many know this, but there were some who called me captain 100 years ago or so. I was fierce, respected. Had a dozen ships under my command. I gave that all up, though. Came here and was one of the first to establish the port south of the Divide. For any dumb enough to try to sail through it. I did a lot of things I wasn't proud of then. We came across some merchant ship. I don't know how long we had been sailing for at that time. It was routine. Fat ship. Plump for the taking. Swooped down upon it. The wind's bane, they called it. Wasn't fast enough. We boarded the ship, slaughtered the crew. Burned it, watched it sink. The captain, a man named Julius, Julius Hound, I came to know later. Well, he cursed us with his dying breath. They all do that. It's not atypical. But there was something in his eyes at that time. Haunted me. That look on his face never left. I still see it every time I go to sleep. She downs that drink too. I gave up my position after that. Disbanded my fleet. Made our way here. Seems like somebody's picked up where he left off. Trying to scare me. Normally I wouldn't let this kind of stuff bother me, but I don't know. I don't know if I want them to do it. Maybe it is justice.
I'm pretty sure justice doesn't send threatening letters first.
Well, not much to do about it. It might just be a threat. Someone trying to scare me. Wouldn't be the first time that some angry granddaughter or grandson of a sailor I killed came looking for revenge. So, I'll take it as it comes.
Have you told anyone else you killed this Julius Hound? Other than your crew, who else would know?
Just the crew. Don't typically share stories about that, and most of them weren't too proud about it. And most of my crew are dead at this point. Just me, Eckerth, and Kala.
Are they all here or elsewhere?
Eckerth, well, last I heard from him, he's stationed up at Deadman's Post, but haven't talked in a while. Sort of pissed off since we got divorced. I don't blame him. Didn't end well. Kala, well, she went off somewhere, living like a hermit out in the hills north of the peninsula. So, I doubt she'd have anything to do with this. And Eckerth's a ripe old bastard, but he's not the type to do this either.
Lucius has been kind of like standing, a little further away. It's what he's always done. As she's talking and doing everything, he kind of turns around and kind of like looks out the window, especially as she's saying, someone could be after her, to hide the fact that he is going to cast Detect Thoughts and try to figure out if she's telling the truth or not.
Okay. You sort of reach out and you focus on her, reading her surface thoughts. And she, because it's not a saving throw until after you try to get deeper. Most of her thoughts are what she's speaking. But when she's not speaking, it's mostly, I've lived a long life. Maybe it's time. Things along those lines.
Okay.
As you look out the window, though,
Mm-hmm.
you notice that a dense fog is rolling in. And after a few moments, It's difficult to see almost. And then you begin to hear a noise. And you can hear the sounds of cries in the distance, panicked sounds. You look down and you see flames flickering, torches coming to life, and then you begin to hear a ding, 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 coming from the harbor. And as that happens, you all turn and look as 3 figures descend the stairs on the far side of the room. All of them cloaked and hooded. One of them a little bit taller, the other 2 kind of hunching. Steps forward. Medai Voss. She turns back. Who are you? We're the winds of justice. We're here to kill you. The rest of you leave. You have no business here.
What is his surface thoughts? 'Cause I have to keep moving it unless they know.
You move your thoughts to him. And you hear, kill her now, kill her, blood and bone, kill her now.
And the other 2? Same thing?
You listen to their minds, and double check this too. Just hear blood. The man he finally makes it to the bottom of the stairs, lowers his hood, and you see kind of a spidery looking man, thin, gaunt cheeks, black hair, scraggled and messed, matted. His face and his skin is an ivory white, and his eyes are glowing sockets of red. And he lets out a sort of a snarl as he draws his blade. He says, "Lost your chance, and now you die." And he goes rushing in. And that's where we'll end tonight's session. All right. So that's where we will pick up our game next week, everyone. Thanks for playing. So yeah, we'll pick up next time to see where all of this leads off and what exactly is happening in Port Onryx. Otherwise, thank you, Ryan, for coming and playing with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
And I know, maybe be able to come back, but we'll talk about it and see. Otherwise, we'll figure out what Freeman's going to do, and we'll talk on it further.
Cool. Awesome.
Obviously, it'd be awesome if Freeman could be there next week, but
yeah.
But yeah. Otherwise, Savannah, you got our list of thank yous.
Yes. Hello. I'm Savannah. Yes. So we'll give a big thank you to. I'll start with our music. If you loved our music, which we do, we get all of our music from Incomptech, which is awesome, royalty-free music, all different types of genres that you can use for your games at home or just general fun stuff, because they have a lot of awesome things going on. So check out Incomptech if you like our music. If you like our maps, which we use this week, our DM Sean makes all of those for us using Incarnate. So if you need some maps for your home game or your stream, check it out. Incarnate is awesome. Lots of different map making kind of software and things like that you can get from their website. All of our overlays are made by our player Sarah, who's not here this week because she's doing other fun Eclipse-related stuff. But if you like our overlays, if you want something like that for your own home game or stream or whatever it is you have out here on the internets, contact her. Her Twitter name is up there where her face would normally be. But contact her or Survivor Complex or Upit Gaming on Twitter, and you can talk to her about cool overlays and images and things like that. Our character art, which you can see below all of our faces over here, is made by our friend Julie. So if you like our art, if you want to see more of it, or if you want to talk to Julie about when she's opening commissions and doing art and things like that, contact any of us or Survivor Complex or Upit Gaming on Twitter, and we can talk to you about that stuff. Other than that, Valendor on Monday, check it out. It's a really awesome, fun stream. And follow all of our different accounts. We have Upit Gaming and at Survivor Complex, without the S, on Twitter. Follow us here on Twitch, where you can now subscribe, get a custom emote, and access to our Discord server, where you can talk to all of us fun people about D&D and video games and other RPGs and all kinds of fun stuff that we like to do. And YouTube is the other thing that we have. If you missed any of our sessions or any of Valendor or any of our fun video game streams, youtube.com/upitgaming is where you can catch up on all of that stuff. And yeah, I think that's all I have.
Okay. And yeah, like always, we will be back next Saturday, same time, same place, for our ultimate birthday weekend. I know that we have like 3 birthdays in a row after that.
We do. It's Dylan and Alex and Sean all have birthdays next weekend, so come and hang out for our ultimate super Survivor Complex birthday weekend stream.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. And by ridiculous, I mean...
We'll have a great time.
Someone
will definitely die.
Definitely.
That's what happens.
I just have to remember that your death ward is still up because it lasts for like 8 hours.
Yes, it is.
Let me write that down.
Someone will die, and it will not be me.
But otherwise, yeah, we'll be back next week. Thank everybody for coming out, and until next time, good night, Internet.
Night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.